Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Stylus League, episode 68. I'm Mike Thompson. I am here with, let's bring them in one at a time here. So, heads up, we don't have Bradley this morning. He had some computer issues that he's working on. However, we do have the beautiful Raul Nazario. Hold on one second. There he is.
We go. What's up, guys?
Man?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing? I'm doing better than some others.
Yeah. We're listen. We literally like put this thing together like a couple seconds before the show. So the fact that you had music, you had an intro, and we sound like we should sound as good.
I mean, I'm shaking. That came down to the down to the wire. That's great.
Showtime, baby. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
All right. So it is also, sadly, our last show of the series with our very special guest, James W Cain.
James. Hello. Sir, hold on. It's Sir James W Cain.
Sir James W Cain.
That's right. Come on. You got to give me the right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not bad. It was very fun. Sort of, we were kind of, it was a bit all hands to the deck there for about 10 minutes. It was fun. It was fun. Yeah. It was great. It's good though, because you need these sort of tests, to see, like going forward, because then like what worst case scenarios and stuff, I guess. But I think you both did really well. So
thanks, man. I just want the opportunity to scream at the audience, do it live. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that this is we don't need stress tests. I think our hearts are good, right? we figured it out. That was great.
So Raul, I see you're all geared out today. What have you been working on this week?
Oh man. This week was a huge shift in everything that we've been doing with the merch store. So then soon, I know we keep saying soon, but one of the things, as I continuously mention when we're talking about this, is we want to make sure that the experience is great for all of our fans. So we're doing a whole lot of testing, making sure everything goes well. I mean, there'll always be a hitch or two, right, whenever you go live with these types of things, but we're really excited about some of the stuff that's kind of come out. So here within the next week or two. So
absolutely. And it's looking really good, you guys. Like, the stuff is looking fantastic. We're getting samples in. Before we make it available to you guys, we want to make sure the quality is good. So, you can see Raul's got the cap over there and a t-shirt. And I know Bradley ordered a grip of stuff. And
Bradley ordered half a store.
Half the store. Yeah.
And
I think his Christmas stuff is filled up for the family. And then I got a hoodie, which I'm going to check out after the show. I haven't opened it up yet.
You haven't opened it up yet?
No. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
No.
Is it with you? It's not with you, right? It's still over.
It's not
over somewhere.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm excited to see it. So James, how was your week, my friend? What are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. We're just like sculpting away really on the jobs that we've got at XM. Pretty straightforward stuff really, but managing a lot of projects. So hopefully we'll be able to get these things launched. I mean, normally the times between when I finish and when the project's actually done and in front of the sort of collectors is about a year's gap. So we're sort of working a year behind, that's actually getting better actually, because we've got, different factories involved and they all have different speeds and stuff. So, but yeah, it's looking good. I'm still sort of I've finished a few projects, and now I'm back in. It's just a constant stream of work, really. So, which is great. It's a lot of fun, and I get to work with the in-house sculptors and external sculptors as well. So yeah, it's just good fun. This week's been fun.
Yeah, who needs sleep anyway, right?
But, yeah, that's right.
Who needs sleep anyway?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's overrated. It's an overrated. And yeah, so yesterday night we were down the Curry House as well on a Friday night. So that's a typical British Friday night pastime, and that's about as exciting as my life gets at the moment.
Nice.
That's
You see, Ram had a pertinent question here for me to ask.
Yeah, yes, I did. Do you know what?
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and so a couple of things there. Of course, I didn't. Someone had mentioned in the comments the previous weeks, but it is actually literally a remake of a British sitcom called Steptoe and Son. I didn't realize that. I thought it was inspired, but no, it's a rewrite. It's a rewrite.
You guys don't have to have everything first, damn it.
No.
But yeah, it's cool. I really liked it. I really like it's the auntie as well. I really like the auntie character.
Yeah.
They're always having to dig at each other and stuff. I thought that was really funny.
You have to send a link for. You said it's called. What is it called?
Steptoe and Son. I mean, basically,
wow.
Yeah. So
they straight up stole it.
Hold on, I gotta pull that up.
It's a rewrite. It's a rewrite. It was rewritten. I think it's fantastic actually, because I mean, Steptoe and Son, like well, the first thing is I can't find anywhere to stream Sanford and Son over here. Like, I can't find it. The only place I can find it is YouTube clips. So I haven't watched a full episode through. I've just watched some, like, the compendium sort of clips. But even then, it was very funny. But Steptoe and Son over here is very revered. Like my mum and dad's generation, sort of in the mid to late 70s, probably a bit earlier actually, because so like they are the kind of archetypes that the Sanford and Son were based on. So you've got
what
old
year is this supposed to take place in?
It must be in the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah, and it's a really well-known British sitcom. Like, it's really much beloved. So like when I mentioned it to my mum and dad, they were like, "Oh, it's Sanford and Son. Yeah, that was just a copy." Because that's sort of very British sort of snobbiness about it. It's true though, because like over here it was pretty much.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Copy, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, James,
I'm back.
You cut out. Yeah, there we go.
A little choppy. So if you really wanna get your parents started, tell them. Can you hear us now, James?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you now. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No worries.
I can hear you.
If you really want to get your parents started, tell them we had the office first.
light them up. Light them up.
I think that'll start a small incident. It'll start a small incident. All right, cool. Well, listen.
I think there's. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go. Yeah.
No. I was gonna say. All right. So we have a limited amount of time. We have you for one last show. I don't want to stop any goodness. You've gotten a lot done this week, my friend. Let's share your screen solo style, and let's see what you got here. And while we're doing that, after this, actually, Raul, let's start going through the chat and saying hey to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm kind of into sort of solving little visual problems with this, and just dialing in on some details. Like I've been messing about with the face a little bit, and I've removed a few things that I felt were distracting. And you'll find that when you do these complicated statues, because you'll add something and then you'll add something a little bit after that, and then you'll realize the thing you added previously is not needed. So because it makes it very busy. And so I've added this smoke in, which has made the sculpt a little bit more busier. I like that, but I realized that I needed to remove like things on the pouches that I had. Her pouches, there was a little leather sort of strap on it that I've removed, and just things like that really. And it's just going through and just adding those details. So I've actually finished the glove, this hand here. So this is all done.
Wow.
Little detail. As you can see, I want to know the width of the grip of this gun before I pose the hand.
Right.
So I don't want to pose it first.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've added that little Judge Thea's face in there. That's Bradley's sculpt, but that's my sculpt, but the sculpt that Bradley's working on at the moment. Yeah, so it's kind of cool because I've got all the judges in, all the dark judges in this sculpt, which is what I wanted to do. So yeah,
Nice.
it's good. So now going forward, I think today I will be sculpting the Lawgiver, which is her gun. And I'll probably be doing a bit on the hair as well if I want to change it up a little bit as well. So
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So
looking good.
It's looking
thank you very
fantastic.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Mike, what about you? What have you been doing this past week?
Sure. So
You've been sleeping on it, right? You've been sleeping on it.
I've been doing I've been doing a little bit. So when I left last when we ended last stream, I was around here. Which was my death. I went and started noodling around with the little bat thing and didn't really have an awful lot done. But I was like, you know what? This is not enough. So I want to do something like this, right? And I was, of course, obviously, when I said it to James and Bradley, they were like, "You're friggin' nuts. It's a lot." So I didn't quite get this much done, but I did. Let's swip it to this one. I did get here. So.
Yeah, that looks so good. Yeah, you did a lot of work there.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. So I managed to pose them up, kinda. I still got to work on Dread, obviously. He's very, very soft. I did some poly painting as well. Oops, not like that. Did a little bit of poly painting as well. So if I come over here and look at it, and let's turn off Dread. Okay, so you can see I was very inspired by James's smoke on his, and so when I was looking at this one, I was like, oh, this is dope, but the way James is doing his, it looks stylized and I really like it. It also reminded me of the new Samurai Wolverine that Martin Canali did. And I was like, oh man, so fresh. So you can see on my mood board, I was leaning into a little somebody's something here. I had all of James's, just so you know, I was like, okay, first of all, this is sick. Your screen was a little blurry, so I'm going to give people the real quick right now. I know we're on me, but I got to go back.
That's cool.
Dude, come on. And I've been sculpting the smoke and realizing how difficult it actually is. You would think it's not that hard. It's really hard, man.
It's difficult because it's in 3D, so like you've got to consider what's going on behind it and all of that. And it's basically it's basic sculpture really in terms of a real focus on actual forms and what you're doing instead. Because a lot of what we do as digital sculptors is 2D actually, because we're doing it on a flat 2D surface, and so it's every now and then, like, you need to remind yourself actually what we're doing is in 3D, so turn the camera and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I just didn't know exactly how I was going to pull off some of these. Like, you got to be able to see it too, and I don't know. So I'm still working on that. But as you can see, I went in and added some smoke. I wanted him to go from like that. Thanks, man. From like that corporeal form into like a solid dude. And so that was the whole.
It's really, really difficult to pull that off in 3D as well. And a lot of that, I guess if we would look, I was approaching this as an art director, we would do a lot of it in the paint job. So we would sculpt it fairly basic, and then we would brief the paint team on that, I guess. But it's cool to see. Yeah, it's cool to see your own interpretation of it. That's for sure.
Thanks, man. So I mean, it's all blocky too. So, but this, you can see it's kind of turning into that. And then obviously you add in Dread, which trying to get that pose where he was not, he kind of looks like he's being, towered over and he's menacing yet still not scared. He ain't scared.
Yeah.
So if I turn,
you've got. I think the challenge for this is to make it look like death is invading his space. That's the key to this, I feel.
Yeah, he's in his personal space.
It's difficult. Yeah.
So anyway, I tried to keep those S shapes we've been talking about in the critiques and things like that in as well. So anyway,
it's looking awesome.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. So that is where I am. So Raul, I'm going to let's see, it's 10:14. I'm going to set it up for James in my screen, and I'd like, if you can, to switch back and forth between us
Yeah,
from
sure.
time to time. All right, and
Sure.
then you want to read through some of the stuff.
No, I'm reading through no comments.
How do I? Okay, so how do I? Let's see. Do I just
Here, you do it on a double layout like this.
double? Let me see.
In the meantime, while Mike is finding a way to crop my face out of the stream, Sid says achievement unlocked 1K family.
Nice.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
absolutely.
Well
we
done.
are horrifically excited that we were able to hit a
Thanks.
1,000 subs. And guys, this is due to everybody here, right? I said it on the last stream, and I'm going to continue to say it. We're here for the community, so you guys make this happen. So thank you, Sid. Thank you, Katri. Thank you to everybody who dropped in the chat. Aaron, congratulating us, Jamie B, for hitting the 1,000 subs again.
Thanks, guys.
We only do that with you, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Thank you guys again, and let's keep rocking and rolling with the streams and the content, right? We have Shane saying hi. Anastasi. Anastasi. I'm going to say it right for the rest of the stream today. I'm
please
do.
That up. It's painful. It's painful.
Yeah, it really is. Mini Chick Studios says hi. Good morning.
Hey.
Well, we ship worldwide. Yes. So we were very specific. Very specific to get suppliers that would help us ship our merch worldwide. So yes, shipping might be a little more pricey, but if you want something, you can get it. Let's see here. Ram says, okay, so we already went through the Sanford and Sons. Frederick says, good morning, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
Or afternoon, James. Yeah, he knows what's up. ANJ, hi guys. Aldo,
hey.
Good morning from Denver, Colorado. Aldo,
nice.
Is that where you're normally at? Are you normally in Denver? Let's see. Manuel, good morning, everybody. So a whole lot of folks coming into the stream. Guys, we really appreciate you guys showing up for us. While you guys are at it, don't forget to hit that like on the stream. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe. 1,000 isn't the end goal. It was just this year's goal, right? Canopus 7 says hello from Tunisia. That's Tennessee, right, Tien? Couple of comments here on you guys' sculpts. So here's a question from Katri. It says, Mike, how do you find the hand references? Your character's hands are always so dynamic.
Hey, thank you. So just so you know, I have one hand pose that I do, and it's the one that I expect to have in a few years. My arthritic pose here. Let's see if I can get this for you. I imagine after a few more years of sculpting, this is what my hands are going to look like. So yeah. I do this quite a lot. This is my sculpt.
So what you're saying is that art imitates life in this instance, huh?
100%. Hey, listen, go back. You think I'm lying? Brad Grotman will attest to this. If you go back and look at my Venom, I think my Lion-O, probably Trapjaw, He-Man might have one of these hands. Yeah, I go Anti-Venom, Venom. Yeah. All of these guys have the same hand. So you do
Katri,
one.
Yeah, Katri, if you want references, just pull up Mike's art station. There you go. That's the reference.
It's kind of the one hand rules them all kind of a theory,
Yeah, exactly. So Shane says, Mike, saw your sculpt on Insta last night. It's awesome. Attempting to sculpt the same scene. So,
Nice. Thank
Shane,
you.
I'd
Thank
be
you.
really interested to see to see what your progress is on that exact same scene. If you want to drop something in the whip, I'd love to pull it up.
Absolutely. It's dope.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, listen, I rallied. I'm gonna tell you, man. James has lit a fire under my hind parts over here, man. Like, it's. I was talking to Bradley about this. I was talking to Brad Grotman about this. It's having you on the show is just like it's good for me because I love watching your workflow, but it's also one of those things where it's the what's I'm sure there's a saying for it, Raul, that's escaping me right now, but the pressure of you raising the bar so high is really kind of forcing us to get it together here. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely saw it throughout the week, right? And there was no time in which I was talking to Mike about anything where he wasn't going in. So
yeah, we were having meetings about the store. I'm sculpting. We're having this. I'm sculpting.
As the Stylus League parent over here, James, you're a good influence on our children.
I don't know about. Okay, I think. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Speaking of which, one of our other folks here, Bradley, ML Creative. Good morning. Good morning. Amazing
hey man, you want to get
win on the 1K.
You want to say hello?
Yeah. Oh, did you call? Okay. He's in chat right now.
Sorry, I don't know how to do that. So,
hey, Mike. All right.
I'm back now. Can you hear me?
There you go. Yes.
Hey, so Raul?
My internet keeps dropping.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Raul.
Yeah. What's up?
Try hiding your screen and see if it'll bring up just James. There you go. So now can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, but now we can't hear. All right, we're gonna. I don't know.
We're fine. We're fine.
Oh, good. We're good. All right, thanks, Bradley. Okay,
we're fine.
Hold on, Bradley's gonna say hi to everybody. Hold on.
Hi, everybody.
Say hi.
Hi. Awesome on the 1K. We appreciate it.
All right. I don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah, no, we definitely heard it. Yep.
Okay, excellent. All right.
Yeah, definitely heard it. So kind of going through some more of the chat here. Sid says both scopes look sick.
Hey, thanks Sid.
So Aram says at Mike T, make sure the smoke can carry his weight. This needs to be printed for sure.
Oh yeah, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. I'll probably put something solid under him as well, to like a rock or something that's gonna kind of fake carry the weight as well. Let's see if I turn this off.
Cleverton Laura says hello.
Hi.
What's up?
Hello.
Let's see here. Good morning from Matthew Williams. Sorry guys if it's taking us a little bit to get through all of these. We did really want to make sure to get situated, get through all the technical stuff, and actually show off some of the art.
Exactly. Yeah, so just so you know, Bradley is more than just a pretty face on the show, you guys, and a very kind spokesman. He also makes sure that all this stuff runs smoothly. So when he's not actually physically in the building, it's we're just trying to catch up. That's all that is. So yeah, if you're coming in a little late, just some computer difficulties. So he'll be back for the next stream, but today it's trying to catch up with that.
Yeah. Let's see here. So MJ says next stop 10K. Heck yeah, man. That's our next goal. Next goal, 10K.
Yes, sir.
Can't stop, won't stop.
I've heard that somewhere. I don't know where I heard it.
Attentive Slug says, "Hey, Mike, James, Raul. Hey, chat.
Hey, man. Hey, what's up, Attentive Slug?
Hey, Mike. I don't hear the music, brother.
Oh, the music. See? Let me play the music. Bradley was here. Music.
Yeah, music would be going. There'd be no issues.
There
I
you
was
go.
wondering. I'm like, it
Thanks for
feels like
catching
there's a
that,
lot
man.
of dead air in the background.
You're right about that. This is much better. Okay, can you hear it now?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I'm going to focus in on James for a second while we get that worked out. James, what are you working on right now?
So yeah, I thought just to warm my head up, because I I'm going to be doing a bit of hard surface on this gun, but just to kind of zone out a little bit, I'm just sort of working on this hair. So just trying to build up some nice volumes and stuff and some flow on it.
Okay. So what technique are you using to get that done?
Just all different types. I mean, actually, you could say that I'm using the same technique as I did with the smoke. Really, I'm just sort of sculpting forms. A lot of what I do when I'm sculpting is to try and basically unsee the like the actual. I think the trouble is we overinterpret the source material if you've got reference or whatever, and try and make the sculpt look exactly like it. But for me, I try and kind of think about the actual form. So like not sculpting every single hair on this head, and think about it as clumps of form, because it is a sculpture at the end of the day. So so in the same way for the smoke, like trying to group it all together and come up with the big forms, the smaller forms, and the directional forms. And
Hey, Mike, that music's crackly.
Oh well, hell with it. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. I don't know what to do. It might be the song. Let's see. Is that correctly too?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, that was just the song. All right, cool. Now, if we can get back to the two of our screens without seeing the lo-fi screen, then we're on the money here. Let's see.
You have to, yeah.
Excellent. There it is. All right, can you hear the music?
Yeah, actually, I muted it because it's
Too loud.
Yeah, it's a little extra.
Turn it
Talks amongst yourselves. Bradley's calling me.
Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. Little technical difficulties today. I was telling James before we started the show here, like sculpting faces out of symmetry is the bane of my existence. And so
Yeah.
I really am not looking forward to really dialing in this Judge Dredd. But
yeah, it's I think sometimes it's all about weighing up what it's going to do for the sculpts. Like so I think a lot of the time, like I will try and sculpt as much as I can outside of symmetry. So if I'm doing a personal piece, I will. It's like talking faces here. I'll try and sculpt that face completely out of symmetry into the pose, but a lot of the time it's just very difficult to do that in digital because you can't feel the sculpt. It's like as I said before, it's on a 2D surface. So yeah, sometimes it's not easy to do that, and some of the time you just have to take the head off and work it a little bit into symmetry, and then put it back on, and then work on it again in outside of symmetry.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just needs fixing. I don't think there's there's no shame in that. I think the problem is, of course, that in making everything asymmetrical, you're trying to flex a little bit, trying to show off.
Right.
And I don't.
Uh-oh. It's that kind of day, you guys. Raul, are you still there?
You don't.
Oh no. James, you sound bad.
Oh, I'm back, am I?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Something. Let's see. That's not. All right, Raul, are you setting up music too?
Yeah, I'm setting up music so that it actually works.
All right. Whatever, dude.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know how to hide this screen.
I think you just go to the little 3 buttons and hide it.
Okay.
Yeah. There you
Stop
go.
screen.
But we don't hear anything, so
You don't hear anything?
nope. Good night, everybody.
Oh dear, we've had 3 good weeks to be fair.
Yeah. Hey, listen, three. You can't fly too close to the sun, everyone. This is what happens when you have 4 weeks with James Cain. Sir James.
So actually, some of the internet problems might be on my own actually, because we've got the house I live in is pre-war, so it's the telecoms cable network comes from overhead cables.
Mhm.
And actually there's like a wooded area in the sort of near me, and that was being cut. That was all being cut down yesterday or the day before, and I think someone cut through one of the cables by accident.
Wow.
So yeah, that might. We've been having a bit of problems here, so I do apologise if I'm having problems as well.
Hey, James, let me ask you a question, man. Have
Yeah.
you ever had the you know how when you're in Z Modeler
Yeah.
and say I want to insert an edge loop, I just click and insert it, right? And if I want to delete it, I hold down Control and click.
Yeah.
It's doing the opposite now. So like if I want to add a loop, I press the alternate, and if I want to remove, it's just like I just click on the thing. Have you ever seen that? It's like backwards.
So you're adding. So you just click to add, and then that's actually my Alt key. I use my Alt key to delete.
I mean, Alt is what I meant to say. What did I say? Control.
Yeah.
Alt.
Yeah.
Alt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so if I like see how now I want to add a loop.
You've got Z sub probably pushed. Mate, just double check your Z add and your Z sub, because that'll reverse that'll reverse everything.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's all right. It's all right.
I didn't
Happens
know
to me all the time.
Yeah, I didn't know Z Modeler also had the sub feature, but
yeah, actually, you can. There's all sorts of subtle ways you can use that. I can't. None come to mind at the moment, but yeah, there's all sorts of little things that you can do. Can do with that by changing that. And I think the focal shift might might have an impact on stuff as well. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, because it is part of the system, the ZBrush system, so it should work on most brushes, the focal shift and draw size and intensity and stuff.
Indeed.
So you can do little flashy things with them.
Nice. Okay. So Raul, are you still in here? Oh, guys, this is the kind of day.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. So we lost the music. We lost Raul. He was so young, man.
And he was doing your merch as well.
And he was doing the merch. Yeah. He's got to talk to people. Raul, you got to at least, even with no music, you got to talk to folks. All right, let me go through this chat. Where did he drop off? Okay. Do you guys start with a base mesh or do you start from scratch? Joshua Carver is asking. So James, you started from nothing.
Let me just load up what I started with. Just so, I mean, actually, you know what? I don't know if I've got the T. I wouldn't call it the T pose, but actually, yeah, I did think about you can start from a mannequin like this. I chose not to do that this time. Actually, I chose to start completely from scratch, but I'm not sure if I can find the actual file. I mean, I basically started by blocking out some forms. Let me just turn this. Got a dark mat cap on. So yeah, basically, like this. And then I started blocking out the forms in like I would call an A or T pose. And that they were very, very, very rudimentary at the time. Like that because it gives me, I just want to get my proportions in. I'm not really interested in establishing too much anatomy. And yeah, so I'll just work at it from there and get it into pose. As soon as I can get it into pose, the better. But that will of course change depending on if the character's got a lot of hard surface armor that needs symmetry. Well, then I'll try and probably keep it in T pose for a bit longer. But an organic sculpt mostly I'll try and get into pose pretty quickly into like a blocked out pose. So I don't know. I don't know if I can load up something. Yeah, so here you can see I've blocked everything in, and I'm just sculpting on these individual forms to get the
That's
right
awesome,
kind
man.
of
How you kind of got the anatomy figured out there as just spheres and figured out the spacing, everything. It's dope.
Yeah, I think thanks, man. I think doing it this way, you're going to get much more movement in your sculpt.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I know lots of sculptors that will be able to get the same results from a T pose, perhaps. But for me, I just like the more sculptural feel. I feel like it's more creative. I also feel starting from scratch, you're less dictated to on proportions. So for comic book stuff, a lot of the time you need to make legs a bit longer or limbs a bit longer. The proportions are a little bit different, and if you start with a base mesh, then you're already dictated to over those forms. Whereas if you start from scratch, you've got control from the very start, and you'll just see you can develop your sculpt. So it goes to answer your question. Yeah, it's literally from scratch, and then you build up. It's a slow process of build up.
Do you always kind of work this way? Do you work not only out of symmetry, but like completely kind of starting with the pose?
I'd like to do it more. It can be impractical in a commercial environment where if you've got a couple of sculptors working on the same project, for example, or things need approval. So, for instance, with XM, we mostly start in T pose because a lot of the time that's the way a lot of digital sculptors are used to working anyway. But secondly, it helps us with the approval stage, because what we tend to do is split things up into two stages. One is the T-pose stage where we get the armor, and if whatever basically character sheet that we've got, there'll be all sorts of different details and stuff, and that will be agreed on by the licenser. So by keeping it in T-pose, it keeps it very simple for our creative directors to look at and say, okay, they've got it right here, and we need to change this. And whereas if something's into pose, it can make things a bit difficult. For example, like if the art director wanted to see the design of these boots, the full design, well, it's very difficult because there's stuff in the way. So keeping it in T-pose, can alleviate that.
Got you. All right.
There is a halfway house here, so where we are moving now, because we're doing more impactful poses, especially if there's a specific character that has more impactful pose, we will move a bit faster into a pose character as opposed to T-pose. So especially when it's in-house now, because we don't need to, everything goes a lot quicker. Like there's a lot more communication. Whereas when we've got an external sculptor, there's, we need to follow a bit more procedures to make sure we catch something if it doesn't.
Sure.
If it's
that
wrong.
makes sense.
Yeah. So if it's in-house, we can develop it a lot quicker and we can get movement on it as well. So that's an advantage to keeping the sculpting in-house that we've had recently.
Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, this. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, great. No, that's all right. I hope it answers people's questions, because there is no set way of doing it. I think
that's
people
true.
should be flexible about how they approach it, and on a per project kind of basis,
Ooh, music's playing, gents.
Yeah, music. Good job. We have music. I'm way behind in the chat. I think
it's
saying good morning is where I dropped off.
Hannibal saying good morning.
Yeah.
All right.
So good morning, Han.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you so Attentive Slug said that he feels like Mike and James has lit a fire under him as well.
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah. He says thanks for coming and smacking us around.
That's all right.
I reached out to James on Instagram last week, I think, after he shared where he was, and I had literally nothing done. And I was like, listen, man, if I have to be bodied on my own show, I couldn't think of a nicer guy to do it. So thank you so
that's
much.
nice. Thank you. No, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure
Thanks, man.
being with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thanks,
seeing
brother.
the Chinese fire drill that we have in behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
All right, great. Did you guys cover Josh's question? So, do you guys start with a bash mesh or do you start from
Base
scratch?
mesh? Yeah, we just did that.
Oh,
one.
did I say?
Yeah,
just
we
did
just
it?
done that one. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully we answered this question.
All right.
I usually, I don't think I answered. I usually
Yeah, I
start
was
with a
gonna
base
say.
mesh, actually. Yeah. Only because I'm usually pressed for time, and I don't have the magical powers that James has. No, I'm just kidding. That's earned, brother.
Yes, you do.
That is earned.
Yeah, I don't think like about. It's the same sort of thing with the asymmetrical faces. I mean, one thing I would say is, like, it's cool to do it to learn as well. But one thing I would say is don't feel like you have to flex on every
Mhm.
sculpt. Treat
Exactly.
everything as a separate project, and
Yeah.
like don't just do it to flex, because it, like, in the end, like, you might choose the wrong thing just because you want to flex, and
Yeah.
you've not chosen right, so start from if it feels like you need to start from a base mesh, start from a base mesh. There's no shame in it, or there's no right way of doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever gets the work done, right? The tool, if the
Yeah.
tool is available to you, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the finished piece is what matters. So.
From a sculptural perspective, though, it is very cool to see people start, actually sculpting, digitally. I know that it's nothing like traditional, but actually using, just brute forcing things is a lot of. I've got a lot of respect for people who do it, because it's very difficult to do, digitally.
I enjoy
as well.
watching Ryan Kingsland post a lot
Yeah.
of stuff on Instagram where he's doing that, and he's coming from a traditional background, so that's kind of
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan's good because he, like, as you say, he comes from that traditional background where you don't have the luxury of all the stuff we have in digital. So, yeah, it's good to actually. I would say Ryan was someone I learnt from as well when I was starting out, in terms of how to sort of navigate the ZBrush system. And Ryan was actually one of the people that helped design it, if I remember rightly, as well. So,
Yeah. So, just kind of catching up a little bit on chat. Hannibal says that he's been waiting all week to ask James about the standard XM hair workflow using the XM brushes from the Pixo demo. Seems like there's a step he's missing.
Yeah, I can't comment on that specifically because I have a very specific way of doing hair, and that I tend to just brute force it. So, although the team, it depends on what art director you're working with as well. So I would say we have a preferred look to the hair, but we're not. I wouldn't say there is a workflow that everyone should use, but that will differ between art directors as well. You see, so I can't comment on that really. I tend to let the sculptors do their thing, and if it needs adjusting, then we'll talk about it. But I try and steer away from a set workflow. But I know Pablo and Alan will probably have their own way of doing that as well. Of course, there is that thing where there needs to be consistency as well. So that's where the workflow would come in. But I have not been involved with that so far. So I've done a lot of stylized stuff. So I can't really comment on that at the moment, actually.
What about you, Mike? Do you have like a standard workflow for kind of creating hair?
Don't. I know it's probably not the most efficient way. That's for damn sure. When I do it, I mean, I've watched. I've watched. You know who actually had a really good video on it was Ryan again. Ryan Kingsland. I saw him do a big. He does like the big block in of the forms. Everybody kind of does hair the same way when they're sculpting, right? You block in the big forms, and then you go in and kind of just detail the way that James is doing right now. So big clumps to small clumps, and that's essentially a truism for everything, right? So when it comes to sculpting, when it comes to painting, I do this with illustrations. I always just block out large forms first, and then work my way to the final high frequency details. I found that when I started as an artist, though, I would get wrapped up in, like, say I was working on this piece, I would go in and just obsess on one part of it and really detail the crap out of it. And then by the time I was done, I was so fatigued that I would look at everything else that wasn't finished and I would just stop, right? Because I was like, oh, this part looks great. Nothing else is done and it took forever. I don't want to do anymore. So I kind of, when I'm talking to my students about this, and it applies to hair as well as just art in general. I kind of use the analogy of being a little kid and having to clean my room, and I would have my crap everywhere, right? Like action figures, Star Wars toys, comic books, all over the floor. And my mom would come in and be like, "Hey, listen, you need to clean this up, or I'm going to whoop your ass." Right? It was a different time, everyone. And so not like you kids today. So I knew she meant it. But I would sit in the middle of this giant mess on the floor and just not know where to start. So I found that what I would do is kind of just focus on a small area and work out in concentric circles until it was done. So that's actually a good way to do hair. Taking it back, boom, stuck the landing, you guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of which, Hannibal says when following direction, he ends up with an empty clump IMM with a lot of weird looking overlapping IMMs.
Yeah, that's why I don't really. It's not something I really try and. Well, here's the thing. Here's my take on this. What you're talking about is a very technical exercise. And I try and avoid those as much as possible. Like it's like do A, do B, click on B, click on C, then you get your result. I don't like that at all because it's not, for me, it's not sculpting, it's not art, it's like you're just performing the same thing to get the same result every time. That shouldn't be what sculpture's about, in my opinion. It's like it should really be, like understanding the forms, understanding the creative, like what I'm doing here is, trying to figure out the large forms and the small forms and how they contrast and how they work together to indicate movement. Now, this is more important than the buttons that you press to get the result. And if you focus on that outside of the pure technical exercise, then you'll find that the technical stuff comes over time, and you'll have, but your both will be quite strong. The other thing is, of course, technical things change, and whereas the creative stuff doesn't, those creative pillars of learning, like they're always going to be there. So if you have those, then you'll be able to, and you understand how to sculpt this. Like I was talking to Mike about sculpting the smoke, and it's as Mike was just saying, it's a very similar exercise to sculpting the hair. Like I'm approaching it as a sculpting exercise, really, instead of like a technical one. But that's my 2 cents on it. And many artists will disagree and they'll say, oh no, you use this IMM and do this and do that. I know XM that there's be some artists within XM that will do that, but it's not something that I tend to do myself.
Okay.
I see people who have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I think that Brad Groteman's got the best idea though. His method of sculpting hair centers around sculpting bald men.
Nice one, Brad.
Yeah, and Tony says bald for the win.
That's right.
Sorry, Mike. I know I cut you off, but I mean, I think that would be my technique.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the best way.
Best
Best
way.
way.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't get too caught up in the insert brushes. I do use them from time to time, but it's usually only just on top of whatever your major forms are. So like clump in the big areas. And you know who's really amazing at that is Polygon is dope at that, and so is oh man, he used to be. This is gonna kill me. I can't remember his name. He streamed for ZBrush Live, and he does beautiful women, like really stylized women, but they are really nice. Brad Grotman, help me out. Crap, I can't remember what his name is, but his hair, his characters are always stylized, but they look really, really nice, and the hair is awesome. It would help if you knew who it was. Back to me. I'll get it. Is that everything, Raul? Did we go? You got all the way through them?
Huh? No. So I just need a moment to make sure that I'm pronouncing his name right. Anastasi. There we go. Getting it right. Anastasi says, Mike, I really like the composition you did on this piece.
Thank you. Listen, I didn't do anything other than try to recreate this piece of source art, but I will take that. I appreciate it. I was so, again, dude, you guys know me. This is a lot for me to get done in a 4-week period, and 90% of it came from the past week, and that was simply because James's piece was so dope that I was like, I think I can do this. You know what, James? You, sir, need to. I feel like you should get me on a training regimen for weight loss. That's the only way I'm going to get it done, man. I need for you to do it. It would be better if you were a fat dude, but yeah.
If
Unfortunately,
you
you're not.
knew how much curry I ate. If you only knew how much curry I ate last night, then you'd really probably stay.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I would do it if you would tell me to do it. Tell me to lose some weight, man.
Lose some weight.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm on it.
So. Welcome Insane Pixel to the stream. Insane says it's looking good, Mike.
Thanks, man.
Any chance on getting Bradley to stream him watching scary movies we pick for him? Yeah, I think that'll be like a.
If only.
I think that'll be a future Patreon tier.
If only. Oh, that would be awesome. That might be the only way we do it.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing that the only way we can do that.
That would be awesome.
A proper Patreon tier.
Oh my god, you gotta write that down. I'm seriously. I'm serious. I know Bradley's watching right now, dude. Think about that. That's a good one.
Katri says, so guys, this is James's last stream here. Will the Stylus League go back to old timings or stay with this one? We still haven't talked about that, right?
We haven't talked about it. I think initially what we're going to do is go back to Friday nights, but I'm not mad at this time. I actually kind of like this time. It's up to you guys. I don't know. We'll have a meeting about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. One of the things that we're taking into a large consideration when we're talking about this is you guys. Like, ultimately, you guys get to determine a bit of this because we're doing this for you. So I would love to hear it.
You know what we do? Let's do this. You know how you like to do your polls on YouTube?
Yeah, I think I'll run one.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to have a poll on YouTube. Do you like this time slot or do you want to go back to Friday nights? Let us know.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll run one of those. Okay. Let's see here. Hannibal said, bald men got me this far. Now, he says, now that my first job is a Wolverine, it's hard learning curve because most of Wolverine's hair sculpts are they're a bit dodgy.
Hey, listen, Hannibal. I'm glad that you continued with that thought. It's like,
he kept it moving. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Marty Cat says, "Hi guys.
Hey,
Mary
Marty
Cat.
Cat.
Hopefully your Saturday is going well." When Coke, right? Coke,
Uh-huh.
Yep, Stylus League. Thanks for having the pros like James on the stream. The expertise, workflow, yeah, right. The expertise, workflow, and tips they bring to the table are priceless. Thanks, SL. Yeah, man.
Thank you, and we apologize for butchering your name.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Badly. That's probably
especially because that's clearly not a screen name, right? That is very much his real name.
And I guarantee you that's an easy pronunciation that we just destroyed for no reason.
Yeah, it's just that type of day for us today. But no, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna continue doing this, right? We're gonna continue bringing on guests. We have a couple of things that we've been that are in the works and discussing. So, guys, we're just really excited for the support from the community that allows us to continue to do these things, right? And I don't know, Mike. James, something tells me this might not be the last time we see James on the Stylus League.
Stop teasing them.
Dude, James has an open invitation. I feel like we need to get him in early next year, have him back.
Yeah.
So James, let me ask you a question. Are you friends with Martine?
Yes. Well, okay. I have never met Martin, no. But I have my interactions online and everything with him. He's a nice, lovely chap, but one of the most talented sculptors around as well. Which
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
So last night he was very nice and gave me a really nice comment on the Judge Dredd thing, and so I immediately reached out to him to see if he wants to come on the show. I know
wicked.
He
That'd
is
be great.
He probably, in addition to you, are the busiest men in Hollywood. So in show business as it is. So if you can put in a word to get him to come on the show, tell him maybe about your experience, dude. I would go bonkers.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Yeah, I just got my Venom that he sculpted. And
that is amazing. That is a good sculpt. Yeah,
dude, it's so big. It's like oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I can't really say, I can't elaborate too much because it's like cheering for the other side when I talk about it.
Sorry. I forgot.
But no, I'm cheering at it because it's Martine's sculpt. So
yeah.
Next chat.
Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. So this comes from Jamie B says, "Hey James, how do you color your sculpt? Like, how do you color your sculpt like that to give different tones?"
We just, I've just poly painted it. I find color distracting at this stage actually. But I tend to get, because basically, I don't know if I can do this. I can do a flat color. It's not going to give me it because I've colored over it. But at the very early stages, in fact, I might be able to go to here if I can find an earlier version. Yeah, and hopefully this will work. So, an earlier stages of the sculpt, I use like a flat color with a flat color matte cap or material to get an idea of the silhouette, but you can go a stage further than that and you can see the breakup of all the different materials. So if I wanted to color her belt, so I can see it in the silhouette, you can just fill that with a different tone of black and white, basically. And I do that quite a lot. So actually that now, so you can see it. So it's just a way of being able to break up the materials on the character and see how they read from a distance. So basically, they're just literally just filled with a grayscale, on a grayscale, really. On here, you can see there's a little bit of funkiness, and that's because I've got a noise maker on. and under the noise maker you can have a color blend, and for some reason that's on at 0.6 by default. So if I turn that off, it should or if it doesn't auto save, I will you'll see it will go the same color. So yeah, it's a good, I would encourage people to do that late, like at the mid stage in the sculpt, to sort of start shading your stuff early on, because it does really help you see the sculpt. All the different makeup of it. I know Mike, you tend to color your stuff quite early, don't you? I noticed.
Yeah, I do. So on, let's see, let's turn on everything. Yeah, so on mine, I have all of the, I have all the color kind of done. I like to have it so I can turn it on and off, right? But
Yeah.
it definitely helps for me to see what I'm doing, and also kind of it helps me decide what decisions to make. So I wanted like the belt and all that stuff to kind of feel like it's turning into smoke, and then that's everything below the waist. So adding this color helped, because without it, it's just like kind of just noisy and hard to read. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to keep some of this stuff that's going on up here, but I do like this one part. I'm actually kind of proud of this one part right here, where the tooth kind of turns into the smoke and wraps around him.
Yeah, that's wicked. I like that. That's really
Thanks,
cool.
man. Thank you. So, but yeah, no, color helps out a lot, especially on stuff like the hands. Like I think that the hands without having poly paint are just fairly boring, and this just kind of keeps me motivated to keep pressing on.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. So Matthew asks, are we going to have another guest artist? Yes, we will. That's that's going to be a continuous theme of the show. Whether or not that's on the next stream or not, I'm not entirely sure, but that is we won't go too many streams without a guest.
Yeah, no, we have some stuff in the works, especially for next year. So look forward to many more. And if you want to see some of our previous guest artists, go back and check some of the videos we have. We had some heavy hitters on already. Ashley Adams and Shane Olson. MJ has been on. We've had a ton of people. IR, like all these folks have been on for us. So just go back and check out the previous streams if you need something between now and January.
All right. Katri says, I wouldn't be able to catch up with you guys if you switch to old timings. Yeah, I mean that's good for us to know, right? So we'll poll the community and get that feedback. Anastasi says the same thing. So that, guys, like I said, like it's good. This is good for us to know, because ultimately we want to do what's right for the community.
Yeah. Do us a favor though, because one thing that I would like to get is more comments on the YouTube page. So can they comment while they can't comment while we're live, right?
No, well, while they're live, that's what they're doing right now. But
that's what they're doing now. But
it doesn't translate into a VOD comment.
So yeah, if you feel like coming back after the stream and just putting in like, hey, we like Saturday, or Friday is better for us, or whatever, then put that in there, and definitely that'd be dope. We also, we've talked about this already, but we do have a giveaway that's coming up. We're in the works of figuring out how to, what that's going to look like as far as how you enter. But I believe the first one we kind of landed on a random giveaway, and that's going to have something to do with obviously subscribing to our stuff, and then sharing, and maybe adding comments in the post after the fact. So just keep that in mind and get used to doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really exciting. We got a lot of things in the pipeline, and we want to make sure, like I said, that anything that we do is supporting the community. So, we'll keep all of that in mind. We are going to put up that poll. So just let us know how you feel about the time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. So Brad says, Mike, the artist you were trying to remember is probably Danny Mac.
Danny Mac. Danny Mac. That's
It's
exactly
great
who it
when you-
is.
It's great when
Yeah.
you
Thank
get
you.
a name.
Thank.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Tony says, how could we blank on Danny Mac? He used to hang
I
out
know.
with us.
Dude, Danny
Nice.
is a beast and a nice guy too. Have you ever met Danny, James?
No, I haven't actually. No, I think he started streaming. Just a little after for Pixel, just after last time I went to Los Angeles. So I don't think I had a chance to meet him. But he's English, right? He's British.
Yes.
I
Yes,
think.
sir.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice guy, man, and an amazing artist.
Yeah. I know his work. Yeah.
Dude, we should try to get Danny on the show. I'll reach out to Danny. See what's up.
All right, so Jain Herrera Castañeda. I think I got it. James, you sculpt all the hair or do you use IM brushes? By the way, I like your Dororo piece.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it'll be a mix of mostly sculpted, but I will add strands in with I've just got it's basically the curved tube, but I've just adapted it to a hair. So I'll just use this to add strands, and I'll just draw it out on the sculpt that I've sculpted. So it's kind of a mixture of both, but mostly it's just hand sculpted to get the. So I'll start with a. If I switch back to my full sculpt, sorry. Let's see. So mostly I'll just start by blocking it out like this, and then I'll just build up on it, add more blocks to it, and then I will also just add these strands to it, which are like this IMM, and then I'll sculpt on those as well. So there's a little bit of everything there, really. I see a lot of these sculpts that are all IMM strands, and that's not how I do it at all. I tend to sculpt it from scratch and then add some strands with IMM brushes a bit later.
And James, when you're working on stuff like this piece right here, are you thinking like you're constantly thinking of it as something that's going to be printed, right? So
Yeah,
those strands, even though they're thin, there's no undercuts. It goes all the way down.
Yeah. So what will happen is, I mean, it depends on how much we're spending on the sculpt. If you're talking about approaching it from a XM perspective, but most of the time, yeah, you want to make these as simple as possible. So I mean, there's a couple of ways of doing that. Well, firstly, adding more strands in between. So you've got a gap here, which will be a bit of a pain for production. You can actually just duplicate this strand and fill it in, or you can use a move with back face mask like that and close the gap. That's move with back face mask on to get that effect, and you can do that a lot. So for instance, you'll see this strand here would be a pain to cast because it's kind of floating. So you just move with back face mask like that, and then I will just sculpt underneath it, and then you're done. And that's instantly easier to produce. But yeah, so a lot of the time I'll break my sculpting in that respect up into two pieces, into two ways of thinking. So the first is, does it look right? And the second is, will it print? And not the other way around. And I think that's important as well, because I don't want the fact that it might not print to dictate the actual look and feel of it. And then many sculptors will probably disagree with it, and but well, you need to think about it being printable first off. And I guess there's an element of that, but also I don't want that to dictate the look and feel of the sculpt too much as well. So I tend to put that to one side after a while when I'm sculpting, and then I'll come back to it later and fix things, which works quite nicely for me, I think.
That's awesome, man.
James B says, awesome, thank you, and cheers for the inspiration to get working.
Yeah, get working. Yeah, thanks. That's not from at all.
Mini Chick Studios says, yeah, 2 a.m. in Europe is not good for beauty sleep.
No, ouch.
Yeah, I feel that. Hey guys, if you're watching the stream and are enjoying the content, please please don't forget to hit that little like button. You know, that little thumbs up. Just kind of turn it blue or turn it white, right? Like,
one color, the good one.
yeah, the good one, the good color,
Yeah.
whatever
Good
color
shit.
that might be. Well, because I have it in dark mode, so for me it turns white when you hit the like button. So, let's see. Nick Gall would be a dope guest, says Matthew.
Yeah. So listen, on our Discord, we have a whole section for people that you'd like to see as guests. If you are a member of our Discord, please add Nick, because we review that, and I can see if I can reach out. And then also, if you're not a member of the Discord, why aren't you a member of the Discord? Come on.
Yeah.
Raul, you wanna give links to join if they're
Yeah,
not?
links are in the description, but I'll drop one here as well
Perfect.
for stream.
Thank you, brother.
All right, link is up. So yeah, that's where we end up picking the pieces of work that we provide feedback on. You'll get all the latest notifications, news, everything that happens well before the stream. So, and it's a great community. A lot of people talking back and forth, providing their work, getting feedback from other artists. It's a whole lot of fun.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see here. So Shane says, love the Saturday stream. Stylus League, followed by football, makes my day.
Oh, man.
Great stuff.
That's a commercial
Yep.
right there.
That's
Thank
great,
you.
Yeah. Yeah, that should go up on some.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Katri, yeah, I see you. I see you. Yes, Katri does always drop a comment on the VOD.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Tony says Danny is Irish. Or at least he believes he's Irish.
Okay, I do apologise. It's not the best thing in the world calling someone Irish British, so I do apologise.
Way to be that guy, James.
Nice. James has just started an incident.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. So I do apologise, Danny. I'd be surprised though, because he's got a kind of like a southern accent, a southern English accent, but perhaps
I thought he was. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, moving along.
Yeah, good idea.
If you could use only one custom brush that does not come within ZBrush, what would it be? I'm gonna chuck that to James first because he got excited.
That's a really easy. That's a really easy one, actually. Funny enough, it is the Orb Cracks. It is a wonderful brush. Forgive me, I can't remember the guy's name who created it now. I really do apologise. I've had a senior moment and I've drawn a blank. But yes, Orb Cracks is this like wonderful brush that gives you this kind of really nice kind of beveled line across your sculpts. And this happened. I mean, I know that you can get that with the chisel brushes a little bit these days, but it's not the same. Like there's just something nice about the quality of Orb Cracks. It's very much like the Damien Standard brush, in that it was a brush that I don't think the creators of ZBrush realized as a possibility. And then when people created it, it was like, wow, how was this not in ZBrush? And of course, with Damien Standard, it was so good that they made it part of ZBrush. But I'm there very much to that opinion with Orb Cracks. It's like one of my go-to brushes.
Awesome. What about you, Mike?
I love Pablo's clay brush pack. So
yeah, that is good.
Yeah, like this, it's beautiful, man. I use that a lot now. This is kind of replaced as far as like building up my my forms. This has kind of replaced the clay buildup for me. I do it a lot. That would be the one.
All right. So Katri says get Hussein Diba as a guest. He would be making likeness of Mike and Bradley on the stream.
Oh no!
I'd like to see that. I'd love that. That
maybe-
would be great.
maybe Bradley. I don't know if I'm ready for a digital version of myself yet.
I don't know. I say the first person to create a Mike and Bradley Funko Pop, I would be all in.
Nice.
I would be all in.
That would be awesome.
Yes, Tony, we did address the 1K subscribers. Ba, 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 ba.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Believe it or not. Okay, so Hannibal says Michael Vincenti equals
right, yeah.
orb cracks.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Good job. Well remembered.
Awesome.
All
Hannibal.
right.
I thought his name was Ronald Orbs. Actually, I thought that was the guy's name.
Ronald Orbs.
Yeah.
All right. And Aram says at Mike T, which
sir.
clay brush is it from the pack? I wasn't able to read the name.
Oh, that is here. Brush clay. That is called. Ah, crap. Can't see it. It's cut off. Brush. Clay. Shut up, Brad Grotman. I know he's like, oh man, your folder system is terrible.
I mean, is he wrong though?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But it's just not nice. It's not
Yeah.
nice. Come on, man. It is the brush clay. Oh, if you hover over it, it tells you. Pro tip, you guys.
Yeah,
Brush clay details. Brush clay details is that's my joint. I like it. They're all good, really, but that's the one I like the most.
You guys heard it here first. Just hover over.
Yes. Hover over.
Hover
You didn't
over.
know that anywhere else.
No.
Stylus League.
Stylus
Hashtag
League right
2020.
there. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of good content out of this stream.
That's worth the price of admission
Yeah.
right there, man.
That
There you
right
go,
there.
yeah.
Brad says, not saying a word, Mike. He sure was thinking it though.
He's silently judging me. Brad knows what he does.
He
He
sure
knows.
was
I've known him long
thinking
enough.
about it. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
He's never going to be on the stream again. That's for sure.
No.
That'll be it.
Oh, he's been doing it for years.
So Katri says, Mike, you playing games on your stream deck lately?
Yeah. So, man, listen. Lately, it has been nonstop Control for me. I love Control, but this is the problem, right? Bradley, and Raul really shamed me.
Whoa. Hold on.
No. I figured I'd throw you under the bus because Bradley's not here. No, it was 100% Bradley. It was never Raul. Bradley shamed me into playing on my PC because I have a 3090 Ti, and now it looks so good. I'm like, it's good on the Stream Deck,
Yeah.
but it's awesome on the PC. So thank you for that, Bradley. I appreciate it.
Have you tried streaming it to the Stream Deck or to the Steam Deck?
Well, it's a problem. Well, no, I actually haven't. No, because I did set up Epic, the Epic launcher on the Stream Deck. I haven't tried it yet. I need to.
Yeah, if you set it up on Steam, you should be able to stream it to your Steam Deck. And then you don't lose any of the quality or anything like that. It'll still look gorgeous, and you'll still be able to play it. It's not like a competitive multiplayer, so you can do it with lag.
You know what would be dope? If I could set it up from home, and then set it up so I can play it anywhere on Wi-Fi, and then stream it to the deck. That would be dope.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Just make sure your PC's plugged in. And I don't mean that from like tech support, right? Is your PC plugged in?
Like a wired connection, right?
Wired connection. Yeah.
But it's crazy because I will give 100% of the credit to the Steam Deck. I have not played games the way I used to in years, and now I'm really enjoying doing it again. So,
great.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steam.
Yep. Dude, I was watching Raul play, and then I'll get off the games. I was watching Raul play the new Modern Warfare and actually asked him, is that video that you're looking at right there?
Oh,
That
it's
was legit.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was legit. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So
I
Tony,
actually I bought it after last time after last stream because I was like, oh, it's available. So I've been
have you
playing
played
as
it?
well.
Did
I've
you
been
play
playing
any
the
of it?
campaign. Yeah. It's
So
good stuff.
what
I
do you
really
think?
enjoyed it.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, again, it's like overall, it's like a lot of the COD stuff. It's over too quickly, right? But I liked it. I kind of I enjoyed it. It is what it is, isn't it? Really, like it's
Yeah.
what I expected it to be.
Well,
There
it's
wasn't any.
popcorn, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
right.
it's like a
Yeah.
popcorn flick, right?
The campaign's that short? You're already over it?
Oh, James froze out.
Oh no.
Yep.
Did you
All right.
finish the campaign, Raul?
Yeah, I finished. So the campaign came out on Friday, and I finished
Yeah.
it on Sunday.
I don't like that because I don't want to play
Right.
people.
Yeah.
What happened, James? What'd you say? Ah, man.
No, yeah, James
no,
is frozen.
I don't want to play with actual live people. I just want
Yeah,
to.
that's what I was doing last night. Last night, when I was talking to both you and Brad, I was playing online, getting absolutely decimated because I was so distracted. but
yeah, that's why.
Yeah. That was exactly it. Yeah. Reflexes were slightly impaired.
I'm back, guys. If you
there
can
we
hear
go.
me.
All right, James, why don't you finish your thought? Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think like it is like light entertainment. I think the development team do such a great job though on it. You know, like you can see all the work that goes into the characters and the textures, and like it certainly pays off. It's yeah, they are real achievements, those games. I think like in terms of like the cinematics of it all, and you know there's good, but of course like you know that they spent 4 or 5 years developing that, even with the sort of current tech they've got, and yeah, so it's amazing they can do that much in that short space of time. And I'm, you know, anyone who's been involved with games understands how much work's involved in it all. You know, I think they're amazing like that.
Yeah, the detail in that game is incredible, and what I find really good is that the game actually runs better than the prior Call of Duties on my hardware.
Yeah, I found that too. I mean, I've only got a 3070 here, a NVIDIA GeForce. But it
very good.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading it off there because I've got the senior moment. I bought it, and I'm like, I forget what they're called. But yeah, I've got the 3070, and it works quite nicely actually. I'm surprised because of course it's not the sort of most up to date card, although it's fairly new, and it's fairly low down, I would say. But yeah, it performs really nicely. And I've got most of the settings switched on, and they're fairly high as well. So I'm pretty impressed with the performance.
Yeah, man. As a matter of fact, so I'm gonna floss like Mike did. I have a 3090 in my rig.
Nice,
And in all honesty, I have the frame limiter capped at 120, and I screen tear without VSync because it's still going so much above 120 on my card. So yeah, I mean they really did optimize that game. It looks great.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, like for me, I'd rather sacrifice some graphics and have it move smoothly. I'm like terrible like that. If something doesn't move smoothly with the mouse, it really puts me off the game. But the Call of Duty games seem to do really well. I guess the common thing that I have is that if they've ported it from like a console version to a PC version, then a lot of the time the mouse control will be really funky because they've converted it from a joypad sort of profile. But I never have that problem with the Call of Duty games. A lot of the time I'll have to slow the mouse speed down a bit even.
Wait, so you play keyboard and mouse?
Yeah, old school.
Oh, okay,
I mean, I'm an old school gamer. I was playing Doom online with my friends on the computer in the computer lab at school. That's how old I am as a gamer on the network, because we didn't have the internet at the time.
You know, speaking of Doom, that's the Doom Eternal on the Stream Deck is butter. Like that is so.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, it's so good, dude.
I mean,
like,
they sprinkled a little magic into that game. That game will run on a potato, like and look great, right?
Yeah.
They really did a good job with that.
Awesome game.
Yeah, I James. Just so that you know, Mike is one of those controller plebeians. So,
hey, I will never. So listen, this is the thing. This is the thing. I'm a console gamer through and through. I've been playing since my first Atari 2600. However, I like the graphics on the PC, so I stopped at the Xbox One and the PS4. I didn't get the newest Xbox or the PS5, but the fact that I can play with my controller on a PC, man, that's a marriage, boy. That's the one right there. I love it.
Would you say that is the chocolate peanut butter moment?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that at all. Stop running my phrase into the ground. You can't force it, man. You cannot force it.
I love it.
Well, I do love my keyboard and mouse. I think it's embarrassing how much hours I put into Team Fortress 2.
Oh yeah.
Like I put in so many hours in that game. I just loved it. I just couldn't get enough of it. It was it's still one of my all-time favorite games. I try not to play online as much anymore because I just don't have the time, and it's not fun when you're 40 plus and you're getting owned by sort of teenage kids. It's not good. I kind of gave up on online stuff for and it's, as I say, it's very time consuming, but I do miss those days. Those were good. It was good fun playing Team Fortress 2. It's still going as well, as far as I know.
How are we gonna get another Half-Life, man? What do we have to do to get another Half-Life?
I know.
You get a VR headset and play Half-Life Alyx.
Have you guys played that? Have you?
I have. So
is it a full game?
It is a full game. Yeah, it's a full game. Yeah. So it's not like a hacked VR experience. And I'm playing it on my Quest 2 that I'm streaming from my PC wirelessly. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I'm drawing the line at VR. I gotta draw the line somewhere, and that's where I'm gonna draw the line.
Oh man, like you say that. There's some experiences there that are incredible.
I'm sure, but if there was a killer app that I could get on VR, I would probably get in. But I haven't seen anything that's compelling enough to make me say, all right, I'm gonna get it for this game.
So here's a question, though. I mean, some people would argue that AR and VR is kind of like the future of 3D modeling and sculpting. What do you guys say to that?
I've seen people do it. I it's not for me, James.
It gives me a headache.
Yeah.
If I have to, I mean, wearing a headset for me is bad enough, like a headphones, but like wearing that headset, like for that, like I'm sculpting all day. I actually, fun enough, I've met Geonac Bill, just to name drop, who's very much like one of the sort of trailblazers of VR sort of sculpting. And he's so good at it. It's crazy how good, like, because he's a great sculptor anyway, outside of all of this stuff. But one thing, I think it was Monsterpalooza, I met him, and we had like a little in joke going that you could tell all the sculptors that were sculpting VR because they had a big ring around their eyes, like where they've been headset like for too long. That's definitely a thing you can spot them. But I think in general, there's not enough there, and I've said this for a while, but
no,
there's
James.
Not enough there.
Oh, that's the part that I wanted to hear.
Yeah, James, come back to us. All right, yeah,
you're back.
There you go.
Okay,
there
go
you
ahead.
Go. Yeah,
I'm back. Right. Okay. No, there's just not enough there with the VR tech to convince me to go to it. Really, to abandon ZBrush. I don't think. Yeah, there's just not enough there. Like there's not enough advantages really to do it. Like I like the way that you can just pick up ZBrush and do it. Whereas, of course, to get into the VR thing, you need to put the headset on, pick everything up. It's just too much hassle for me. I think really.
Yeah,
I need a tactile feedback. So like, I don't know how you sculpt in the air with the pucks. Like I need to press on something. You know what I'm saying?
That was the other thing I had trouble
what if you
with.
had proper haptics though? So like, what if the haptics actually gave you feedback?
That would be interesting.
Is it really going to feel like it though? And then your hands are in the air. Like, doesn't that get tiresome?
Yeah, I've had that. I've had trouble where using it because I did try it for a long time, and but I had trouble with it. Like just being comfortable, like getting comfortable with it was really difficult. I found.
I'm curious to hear if anybody in chat has tried that out. Drop a comment in chat. Let us know if you've tried out VR sculpting and what your experience has been with it.
Absolutely.
All right. And Tony says he's playing Modern Warfare 2 on his PC as well, and it is amazing.
I knew Tony was going to like it.
Yeah, and Tony, this is a play off of Brad silently judging. Tony does a good job of loudly judging.
Oh, yeah. He's always winning at that.
Yeah. So here... All right, so Aram says, do you ever pose and take pics of yourself as reference? Can't find a good reference for the pose I want to sculpt. Gonna have to pose for it myself, I guess. That's interesting.
I did all the time as an illustrator. Like,
Yeah,
I would pose myself. Yeah, and then I would also grab my kids. There's this cool thing on my website. If you go to my website and check out, I guess I could just open it up. I did this G.I. Joe figure, a ninja, and I used my son in a ninja mask when he was like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years old. It's amazing. He just looked just like the ninja. Let's see. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm pulling it up. Let's see. Really? Oh crap! Put it over here and find it first. Wow, when I say talk amongst yourselves, I mean
you did it right when I'm concentrating.
Jeez, Raul, come on, man.
Sorry.
You got dead silent. All right, here you go. All right, you guys ready for this? Is Raul still in here?
I think he's left, actually. I think he's gone.
Oh, Raul. All right, hold on a second. All right, so here, I'll put it first. Let me put it on my screen. This is the day of 1,000 technical blunders, you guys.
Oh dear, it's all come at the same time.
All right, so this was for Hasbro. You can see I have the very accurate G.I. Joe yard gloves, and the jacket, and then the reference, and then the sketch. This is the toy, the block in, and then boom, there he is, white out.
Yeah, really cool.
So that's that one, but I want you to see the one of my son. Let's see if I can find it. That's Rosario. Oops. Raul, where are you, dude?
I'm here.
Oh,
all right,
it's back.
Yeah, it got uncomfortably quiet for a while.
Katri said that he had to leave. But
who was asking the question?
This one specifically was Aram about posing for yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's another one, right? They gave me this toy. This is why I started using ZBrush, you guys. This particular piece. because I didn't know how to do the helmet for this guy. So I was like, all right, I wish I could 3D sculpt it. But you'll see here a very young, thin. That's Mike Alpha. That's Mike Prime. If anybody wants to know, right? So I literally took the photo, I did the sketch, and then I started the block in, and then the final piece was this piece right here. So I can make it any bigger. There you go.
That's
Boom.
very cool. Yeah, love it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, very cool.
The one of my son is so much better. Oh, here he is. All right, boom. All right, so this is
That's awesome. I love it.
he is a freshman in sorry, not a freshman. He's a what comes after freshman, you guys? I forgot.
Sophomore.
Jeez, Louise.
Sophomore.
Sophomore.
Yeah, sophomore.
He's a sophomore in college right now. But this is what he looked like at the time. So I took that shot. And then oh, where's the rest of it? No, where's the rest of it? That's the best part. Oh,
totally built us up there as well.
Dude, that's
left us hanging too.
I'm gonna get it. No, I have to get it.
now you gotta grab it.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the posing stuff, I think if you're, I think one of the things that is really kind of cool is when if you do the pose yourself, like I do it all the time in my stuff. If you get into the pose, you kind of understand it a little bit better and the dynamics and where the weight is and all of that as well. So it's definitely outside of just photographing yourself, which, let's face it, is very dangerous because people are going to find those photos later on.
Like right now, I'm looking at this like this would make a good thumbnail.
All right
here.
So you ready? This is forgive the afro, but the attitude, and dude, this, I'm not even gonna lie, man. Like that was back when I could walk around without a shirt. You bastard! I hate you, COVID. I'm gonna.
I love the safety sheath that you have on that. On
the knife.
Yeah, very safety minded.
Safety first, ladies and gentlemen. Safety first.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the pose, and then here's my boy at the time, right? That's the attitude, and then the sketch, and this is the final piece.
Oh man, that looks good.
That looks very cool.
Yeah,
that's his face though, 100%. So yeah. I love showing him this now that he's a grown young man.
Okay, so the attitude in that is not yours from when you posed. It's your son's.
Yeah. No, the eyes, that's all him, but the pose was me. So that's why. Yeah. So I did, like, that's the best question for me because I literally do it on everything. I take pictures of family and friends and stuff for everything. I used to anyway. I use ZBrush.
So going back to the VR question, it looks like Tony has tried it. So Tony says that he loves it. I have an Oculus Rift and Adobe Medium. I dig it, but it's not ZBrush yet. Very different.
No.
And I think Aldo has the star comment on this. I have a hard enough time sculpting in ZBrush. I don't need to look like a maniac waving my hands in the air.
Yes. Yeah, it's not a good look, right? It's not like, even when I have like I know it's bad to admit, but if I'm playing Beat Saber, like I have the middle-aged Beat Saber look when I'm playing it.
now, James, the question is, when you're playing Beat Saber, do you dance to the beat?
Yeah, you kind of, there's a bit of rhythm involved, which it totally escapes me, I must admit. But I do, like I must get an A for effort, But yeah, it's very embarrassing.
I need that as one of our YouTube shorts, please.
No.
And thank you.
No.
that needs to go up there for sure. And I know we missed the timing for this, and Ram did bring it up about the What's Good segment. I know for me is definitely the 1,000 subscribers and the merch store and everything that we have going on there. I know, James, you actually prepared a proper What's Good this week. So did you want to share with the team?
Yes. I will go to my
Share with the class.
Let's hope the screen doesn't cut out.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been having such luck with all of our technology today. So
right, so I went through my really old box and I found my original copies of the storyline that this sculpt I'm working on is based on, and I have the whole storyline actually as well. So
wait a minute, was that printed as separate? Is that the way the book looked?
Yeah. So this is 2000 AD. So this is like 1985.
Okay.
Yeah, 4th of May 1985, and like it's serial, so you get it it's a weekly thing, 24p.
Nice.
Which is like, what is that? It's like 50 cents or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see the quality. This is like, so basically these used to be like, because I can't remember if we talked about it in the first stream, but the way I got to start reading like 2000 AD was like my gran was like a dinner lady, and she at a local school, and she would get like the kids would read these comic books and they'd give them to the and they give them to the dinner ladies when they finished with them, and she used to bring them home, and they were in this box. She used to live in this big flat in Gravesend, and quite far up the top actually, like a 30 story block of flats, council flats, and like I would just I would go straight to the box and read these things, and there would just be a stack of these like really old 2000 AD comic books and stuff, and yeah, I've got all of them. I've got all of the whole stuff.
Oh man, I would love to see that. I wish I could get that on Comixology or something. I gotta check because I'm not really familiar.
It's the smell, like you can. I don't know if you can see it's on that rag sort of print.
Yeah.
Newsprint sort of stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a newspaper. The newspaper.
It's literally the same stuff. Yeah.
The colors held up really well on that newsprint, dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one. Actually, this is the best one. So this is roughly what my sculpt is based on. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you can see like all the Dark Judge heads and stuff, and an Anderson. Man, and this was it's one of the first books I've read. Interesting enough, like it's got a Transformer advert on the back as well. That's so cool, right?
So is that for the toy? Hold on, hold that back up.
Yeah, it's for the toy.
That's
85.
Super neat.
This is 1985.
Wow. Okay.
Insecticons.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So I felt it was quite fitting for What's Good, and my stream hasn't cut out, so it's great.
It's perfect. And I see you have the encyclopedia back there too. I need to pick that up probably.
Yeah, it's a good one. There's a couple of them actually. There's another one, a compendium as well, but the encyclopedia. Good.
Oh no. There it is.
Just
there
goes
it
to
is.
show you like how diverse. Yeah, I'm still here, am I?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still here. Right. No. It's just a matter like characters. That encyclopedia. It's quite a thick book, actually. It's quite a big, thick sort of book.
Yeah, nice.
But I highly recommend like you guys get into 2000 AD. It's a really, really cool publication, and they're still going after all those sort of many years, which is fantastic. I think.
That's awesome, dude.
That is awesome. Mike, do you have anything in addition to our 1,000 subs and the store?
I don't. Just the store and the 1,000 subs. Like, I mean, Raul focused on the subscribers, which is amazing, and I'm really happy about that. The store also, like, just because we've been working on it all week, and we've seen the quality of the merch and everything. This is not like a shameless plug. You can buy it if you want to, or don't. Like, I'm gonna buy it, but it looks really good. It looks really good, and I can't wait to get actually, Raul, we were working on coffee mugs last night.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get my hands on something that's not my straight out of Philly cup. Although this has done me well. You can see
Yeah.
the letters. This cup is what's good.
That cup's what's good. I tell you,
And
if
the
I look
squishy
at
ball.
another,
The
if I
squishy
look
ball.
at another T-shirt this week,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
yeah.
That is true.
But yeah, great. Thanks, guys.
Do you have one? You can do them too.
Outside of the merch, I have had my face down on the merch store, getting
Okay.
everything kind of set up. So I'm just happy to be where we are with it. I think it's going to be a good experience for everybody. Like I said, always there'll always be a hitch, right? But I'm really proud of how far we've gotten with it. So
it looks great. It looks really good. Very professional.
Oh, James, you got it. That's right. You got a chance to take a look at it behind the scenes.
That's right. It looks good.
Yeah. So Aram, and I'm gonna say this in general when it comes to any of our guests. I think so James, you can interject if you have a different way. But I would say that the best way to get in contact with anybody is through social media, right? Follow them on social. And we do have the social handles in the description of the videos. But James, don't let me speak for you. You're not throwing your voice. So
yeah, no, it's fine. I don't mind people messaging me, but one thing I would say is that I get a lot of messages and I might not be able to get to you, especially at the moment because it's just very, very busy. But I will try and get back to people if they do message me. It's just a little caveat there. I'm not replying to you out of malice. It's just like I normally have a stack of things, so and I normally can only process a few things at a time. I'm on, please, please feel free to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll always try and reply to comments and messages and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just as a general rule of thumb, the best way to get in contact with anybody that is on the stream will always be through social. We will have all of the social handles in the description below, as well as we're always kind of posting stuff up on social, kind of giving ats and what have you to our guests. So that's usually the best way to get in contact with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Aram also says at James, you get a better feel for the pose for sure. Whenever I sculpt facial expressions, I find myself doing them while I'm sculpting as well.
Yeah, that's true. Like you kind of get like, I don't know. Do you guys have gurning over there? Like, I guess it's not a thing. Like, so we have a thing in it. I don't know if it's British or Irish or something, but it's called gurning. And it's basically a face contortion like contest, and people put like, yeah, it's weird. Look at Raul, look it up. It's
all right. I'm pulling it up right now.
Gurning, gurning, and people put like it looks like an upside down toilet seat on around their heads, and they pull like faces and stuff. It's a really old school English thing, or at least it might be Scottish as well. I don't know, but so when I say like I do a bit of a gurning competition with myself when I'm doing expressions, I'm like sort of really trying to pull them and pull my face around, so that it does put them in kind of into pose, and you kind of understand the pose and the muscles a bit more. But yeah, I've scared a few people off if they walk into the office when I'm doing it.
I mean, not for nothing. You scared me off pulling up gurning. I can't show this on stream.
Yeah, there's some, because a lot of the it's a pub thing, I think, and like a lot of the people are old guys that are best at it, and they've got no teeth, and they can put their lower lip over their nose and stuff like that. It's very funny.
This was terrifying. If anybody wants to scare themselves, go ahead and pull up gurning on Google, because this is a thing. Like, and wow, like I didn't know people could actually pull this off. That's crazy. That is nuts. So Anastasi asks, can you guys recommend any classical sculptors? I've had a hard time finding new inspiration other than Michelangelo, Bernini, and Rodin. I apologize for my English. Your English is fine, Anastasi. Your English is great. I know James is cut out a little bit. Mike, anyone you would recommend to take a look at for inspiration?
I completely put the question on the screen. I completely I was zoned out.
Okay. Can you guys recommend any classical sculptors effectively?
I know those guys, right? Like I don't really know many more. I'm more of an illustrator guy and a painter guy, but James probably does. Is he still...
I'm the same. I'm sorry. I'm back. If you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, I'm the same as Mike here actually. Because I'm an illustrator, so like most of my like art heroes are painters.
Yeah.
I have I like a lot of the Russian sort of guys. But I guess my favourite painter is JW Waterhouse. And you'll see, I'm heavily influenced by him as an artist. And I've very fortunate enough to be able to see a lot of his work. And it was the last time that it was ever together, and it's likely to be together as well at the Royal Academy in London. I had the opportunity to see it, and it was just open to the public. And I would, if you like, it's a very, of course, it's many modern artists would call it a bit kitsch now, but it's still something that his work I just really enjoy. I just think it's fantastic. That's JW Waterhouse.
JW Waterhouse, ladies and gentlemen. I do it, and there's room for kitsch everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
but I think a lot of times people try to stay away from kitsch when kitsch can add a certain personality to a piece of work.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really that bothered by that sort of description, anymore. Like it was a big thing when I was at art school. Like, you can't be kitsch. But like, honestly, it's not a big deal, really. Doesn't really. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
If your work's described as kitsch.
All right. As a side note, it looks like Steamworks says, if you want a good workout, Beat Saber for an hour does it. As a matter of fact, that was actually why I bought my VR headset. So I bought my VR headset so that I could play Beat Saber, Pistol Whip. If you haven't played Pistol Whip and you guys have a VR headset, purchase Pixel Whip.
Right.
Pistol.
Wait, is it Pixel or Pistol?
No, Pistol Whip.
Okay.
And that it's a workout just like Beat Saber, but it's different. It's a whole lot of ducking, moving out of the way, head movements, and things like that. And you feel like John Wick playing that game. It's so awesome.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah. If you guys haven't already done that, like that, it is a phenomenal game.
I'll have to give that a go. Yeah.
Yeah, James, like if you don't get dizzy in VR, like that is and actually, you know what? It's similar to Beat Saber, where it's kind of like low dizziness because you're really standing in place and things are just coming at you, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I have to try that. Yeah.
Check that out if you haven't already done so. Let's see here. So Shane says, I was 14 in 1985. I used to pick up my 2000 AD from a shop on the way to school. Always made me late. Yeah, I was not 14 in 1985. I think I was a glimmer in my daddy's eye in 1985. I was born the year after that, so I can't relate, but I'm sure the James can.
So I was about 6. 1979 I was born. So
there you go. Oh, man, dude, like you actually surprised me when you said above 40, because I didn't think you were above 40 when you
That's
said
very
it.
nice, very kind of you.
Yeah. Mike, every time he gets on screen, my daughter comes over and says, "Abuelo."
Yeah. She's a very rude young lady.
Rude. Kids say the darndest things. It's just House says nothing better than a little mirror to use as a reference when sculpting expressions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And MJ, the store is not live yet. We completely expect that the store will be live within the next week or two, but the store is not live yet, so we are not sharing out the link just yet to answer that question. Anastasi says, "Oh, he's great." I can't remember because there's such a delay right now for us doing the chat. Can't remember what that was for. Anastasi, just drop that in the chat.
The artist, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Schoolio Styles, welcome back. Schoolio says, "Yo, how sad is it that King John G passed away out of nowhere when on tour? R.I.P."
Yeah. Man, too soon, dude.
Yeah,
too soon. Yeah.
What was he? What was he on tour? Like, where was he? Where was he on tour for?
Well, I imagine it had something to do with his, his. Did he have a show or something like that? I don't know, but like Raul, if you don't know who Kim Jong Gi is,
I don't.
Like one of the most prolific illustrators of our time, and the dude he was kind of known for doing these giant scenes with people, like street scenes and stuff like that. But he literally could draw imagine you're in New York and you're looking, down a busy street or whatever. He could draw the entire scene without any reference, with a Sharpie, and have it in perfect perspective, right? Like, so he would do these extreme, almost like fisheye lens perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so amazing to watch him work. Some people are wired differently, right? I talk about this all the time, and he was one of those guys.
Yeah.
His loss was, or his passing was a big loss for everyone, actually.
Wow. Yeah, and MJ says that he was on his way to New York Comic-Con, and he was coming from France.
Okay.
So it looks like, it looks like a lot of people share the same sentiment. They believe he was a savant. Really.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's unfortunate of the passing.
Yeah, it's one of those talents that are just that it's once in a lifetime you'll encounter a talent like that.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor, if you're not familiar with Kim Jong Gi, definitely check him out on social media, like YouTube. Just watching him work is crazy.
Yeah, Attentive Slug says he didn't know that the dude was a beast.
Yeah.
Going back to, I believe this was Pistol Whip. Also, the soundtracks are bomb. Yeah, so Pistol Whip is another music-based game. So, James, when you're playing it, you have enemies that come at you. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Time Crisis. Did you ever play Time Crisis?
No, I never got a chance. No, never did that. No.
Oh man, so it reminds me a little bit about Time Crisis, but enemies come at you, and they spawn to the beat, and then you get points if you shoot them in order with the beat.
Right. Okay.
And then if they come up close, you punch them in the face, and that makes a different sound. It's like a bass. It's like a bass hit, right? It's really cool. I think if you like Beat Saber, you'll enjoy it.
Oh, I'll have to try that. Yeah.
So, what are you working on right now, James? What are you doing?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm just sculpting the Lawgiver, which is like the standard pistol for judges. Actually, I don't know if I've got the. If I have a look, I'll hopefully be able to find one in one of these comic books, because it's a very unique looking pistol. But it changed over time. So like the design, because it was very quirky. It's kind of got this really weird muzzle and like a weird sort of cartridge design and everything. And yeah, so I kind of wanted to go back to the original design and maybe add a bit of my own sort of flavor to it.
Yeah.
I can't find it in the comics actually. It's normally like really I mean, really what I do, I have kind of the mixture of how I approach like hard surface for print, in that like I will try and block everything in with Z modeler. So like there's a very sort of traditional box modeling aspect to it, and then after a point I will move into Dynamesh and into detailing in that way. I actually can't find a picture of it, which is annoying. It's like really small in there, you probably can't see it, but it's just on there. But yeah, it's kind of a very unique looking weapon. Like in the films, they butched it out. They really sort of it looked much more like a traditional kind of pistol sort of thing. Whereas I kind of like the original sort of thin barrel sort of version.
So you said that all of the judges have one. What's
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, what's special about the lawgiver?
Yeah, what's cool is it has a single sort of ammo sort of cartridge, but it kind of like it has like each sort of ammo can be changed in how it behaves. So like there's an explosive one, an armor piercing version, and normally like in the films you hear him speak to the gun and it will switch different ammo types and stuff. But actually, if you look in the original comic, it's got like a little dial, a really basic looking, it looks like a clock on top of the gun that they changed for different ammo types. So which I think is a bit too rudimentary for our purposes. So like I'm gonna sort of modernize it a little bit, a tiny bit here.
All right. Yeah, no, that's super cool. And it looks like, so Voxel says, I loved your original lawgiver. Had an arrow pointing out what ammo he used.
That's right. That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
So wait, did it auto load? Like, so he switched the ammo and it automatically loaded.
Do you know what? I don't know exactly the lore behind it. I think how they did it is that it uses a general, like the ammunition has everything in it, and then it just switches, you know, like, so it's just a general cartridge, and then something inside the gun makes it like explosive or armor piercing or whatever. I don't know what the lore is for that though. Don't take that as gospel.
Well, have you never seen the movie?
No, I saw the movie, but like I was a kid when I saw it. Like I haven't seen it.
The newer one. The newer one.
No,
with
there's a newer version.
What's his name? The guy from
Yeah,
the
there
Boys.
is. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go check that out.
Yeah,
it's
awesome,
good.
Dude. It's really good.
Okay.
What's why can't I remember the guy's name from the Boys? What's his name?
Carl Urban, isn't it? Carl
Urban. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check that out. I'm actually in the middle right now of watching season 3 of The Boys, so.
Oh, that's good.
That's great.
It's a good one. It's just House says James is too powerful for the stream to handle. That's why it keeps getting.
Oh no, I do apologise to everyone. Like I say, like it's terrible. The broadband here is terrible. Where I live. So thankfully we've been able to avoid it for the last 3 weeks. But it's just this last week is proving a problem. So I do apologise.
Yeah. But before I move over to see what Mike is working on, I don't think, James, we got an update on how your eye's doing.
It's doing okay. I'm off the steroids now, and it's a little bit sore, but it's much better than last week anyway, that's for sure. So or the week before, so I'm hopefully on the mend. I'm due in Helsinki next month as well to do a talk as well. So I'm hopefully going to be fit for that, and I'm really looking forward to getting abroad as well. It's going to be the first time I've been away since like abroad since for work anyway, since COVID hit. So I'm really looking forward to it. So nothing's going to get in my way.
Nothing's
So
getting
Nice.
my eyes, it's all right. It's fine. Thanks for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, you gotta show up looking like a pirate. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. If I have to do that, so be it.
yeah. That's great. Mike, what are you working on over here, bud?
Just starting to get the belt buckle sorted out finally. Just getting back on some of these details. So,
Okay.
nothing super exciting.
So, like, how are you doing it?
It started off as let's go my history here. So it started off as just this piece. Well, wait a second. Started off as this piece right here, and that actually started off as this piece right here, just very clean. So I centered it up. Figured it would be easier to work in symmetry. So just kind of centered it on here, went in and made a mask with the general shape of this thing on top of it, and then I did an extract, and then the extract started off looking like this, and I just kind of started slicing into it and getting the shape and then deleting off parts until I got it to look more like this guy. So this is where I am now. So now I can give this thickness and I can start to detail it and put the shield in and all that good stuff.
All right, great, awesome.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
So Aram says, at James, did you ever sculpt a statue with a light up feature? Can you share any insights about that?
Yeah, I have actually. In fact, the Batman, the White Knight Batman, has a light up feature. It depends what you want to know. I think, like from a modeler's perspective, it can be difficult to pull off because if you're putting a light in anything, inside anything, like you're going to get some ambient light coming through because most of the time it'll be 3D printed plastic or modeling resin or even like whatever you're using. Normally it's slightly translucent, so you're going to get light leaks. So there's an element to that, and there's an element to creating paths for the wires for the batteries and stuff. And most of the time, if you're doing that like as a professional sculptor in the industry, you won't need to worry too much about it. I mean, you might be asked to create a channel somewhere, or but it's very rare. That normally as long as there's enough room for something to be kind of engineered, or there is room for like a wire or something, and the factory will do that, or whoever does the engineering after you will do that. But yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult to get it to work. There's a little secret I learned is that if you can buy very matte black paint, some like it's fabric paint or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but if you paint that on the inside of your model, then you're going to stop the light leaks as well, which is quite a nice little
Nice
little tip.
Pro tip.
Yeah, there you go. And many modelers build their own little light box that fits inside the model as well. So it does get very technical. But yeah, eBay is a really good, if you want to get into lighting and stuff, there's a lot of stuff on eBay that you can buy that are pre-made light kits, which are pretty good. In fact, I think I've got a couple here. Let me see if I can find some. Yeah, so I've got all these these are actually, believe it or not, LEDs. They're tiny little LEDs. I don't know if you can see that. But I bought all of these on eBay because they're just pre-made. They're pre-sold or pre-made. Yeah, and people sell them on eBay. So yeah, it's a really cool thing to do for your projects. It's something I want to do with my 3D prints more. So yeah, you'll definitely hopefully in the future, see something along those lines from me. So.
All right.
James, how did you get such a clean bevel on that rounded piece where you have the insets?
On here?
No, on the dial. On the dial.
On the dial. Oh yeah. Well, so I struggled with this actually, and what I did.
Oh, I see what you used.
What I did eventually is this is made up of actually two pieces, and then one is just a basic rectangle, and the other is half of a cylinder that you get. And
you
I
welded it together.
Yes, and I just bridged it over.
Nice.
And the bevels, though, they do not. I don't know if I can delete this and it will show it. No, wonder if I can. One sec. No, it's not going to do it. But basically, this won't work if you bevel it. It didn't work when I beveled it, because if you've got a straight edge here, like if the flow of polygons doesn't go round the object you're beveling, what you'll get is like a flat bevel in the corner. And so the way around that, well, firstly, most poly modelers will tell you, well, the only way to get around it is to use proper edge flow. But we're sculptors, we're not modelers, so we don't have to worry about that. So what I tend to do is just move the points. So so basically, what happened was it looked like this, something like that, when I beveled it. And so what you do is you just grab the point and move it down here.
Yeah.
And then I moved the supporting edge loops to support it properly, and yeah, there you go.
Nice.
And what I can do, I think I can groups by normals on here and then crease, and it's going to give me, I'll just have to play with the max angle on here, and it's going to give me good, there you go, it's giving me good creases. So there you go, there's your high poly.
Awesome. That looks fantastic. Good.
It's like the Z modeler is so powerful, and basically what I'll do, I think I won't do any more detail using Z modeler on this anymore. So what I'll do is I'll subdivide this. I might even I might even dynamesh it to make it easier, and then I'll add some alphas and stuff and some further sculpting on it,
Right.
because we don't have to worry about topology or anything. This is going for 3D print, so we've got the luxury of being able to spoil everything and it will still work for us. So
Exactly. That's sweet, man. Sir.
Yep. Sukosma Art says, "Hey guys, these pieces are looking amazing."
Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to the stream. Guys, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and drop a little like on the stream. Share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're going to keep it moving here with Hannibal. Hannibal says, speaking of light-up statues, X-Men versus the Sentinels sideshow was responsible for me collecting and eventually sculpting.
All right, wicked.
Oh, wow.
James, do you have any inspiration, anything that got you into sculpting and 3D art?
I would say the early stuff. Actually, games really got me into it, I think. Yeah, I wanted to do games. So actually, fun enough, we go back all the way back to Team Fortress 2 when it came out, 2008 or something, I think. I'll
find it.
I think so, yeah, because it came out as part of the package with Half-Life, the new Half-Life, didn't it? Or
that was Orange Box, right?
The Orange Box, that's right. And as time went on, you could actually make your own hats and stuff in it. I don't know if people remember that, but so yeah, I started wanting to make hats for Team Fortress 2, so that's why I picked up 3D software. Also, there was a mixture of things at the time where I wasn't being very successful as an illustrator. I was finding it difficult, so I wanted to find something new that I could do. So yeah, there was a couple of things there. So, but I would say games are really my big influence, not statues. So I kind of fell into making statues. It's not something I originally sort of envisaged doing. I kind of thought I'll make miniatures for now and learn sculpture because it's a good way of making the sort of transition, and then perhaps when I build up my sculpture skills, I can move into games or visual effects or something where all the jobs seem to be at the time. But I found that I could make a fairly decent living out of miniatures and then in turn bigger sculpture, and that's just how I fell into it. I didn't really have any big sculptures I saw because I was never really a collector, and I'm still not really that much comparatively. So yeah, it was something I fell into.
Okay.
What are some of the statues that you have collected that you are really happy that you have?
I got this Hellboy. Hopefully I don't break it when I come over. This Hellboy that I've got, it's by Alban Ficker. One of my favorite friends is
screen bigger here.
Yeah, sorry guys. What I'll do is I'll put my big
Is that
forgot I
based
was
off
on
of the Mike Mignola? I guess.
Yeah,
Oh, nice,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's one of my favorites because I mean, like loads of people do Hellboy statues. I've
Mhm.
got the Abe Sapien one, and I feel like because I read the comic books, Mike Mignola's comic books from the start, really.
Yeah,
And these, for me, are the ultimate Hellboy statues because they are
yeah,
so much like his art. I think people try too hard with the Hellboy stuff. I think they try and make it like too realistic looking, and
yeah,
it's not. I'm much more a fan of Mignola's art for
yeah.
sure. Like Alban Ficker, and those are traditionally sculpted as well. So yeah, those are probably my favorite kind of collectibles. I also collect these little Star Wars, the Bandai Samurai Star Wars dudes.
Oh, that's a
Love
really
these.
cool figure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
These are
Nice.
super cool. They're about 100 each, so quite. But I like the C3PO is pretty cool as well. Like I like C3PO.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I like
Yeah, these
seeing
are very
C3PO
cool.
in an action pose. That's pretty awesome.
Do you
Yeah,
have any
yeah, they're very
large
cool.
pieces though?
No,
Like any
no, I don't have
large?
any room. No, I don't have any room.
Wow.
It's funny because I imagine most people over here are the same. The English market is going to be quite small for big statues because we have small houses. It's the same problem in
Yeah,
Japan as well, actually. You know
yeah,
that people tend to collect, 1/6 scale or 1/8 scale pieces probably more than they do the big 1/4 or 1/3 scale that you would get, in the States and in the Far East,
right.
in the sort of Southeast Asia where XM is and stuff. So, yeah, I'm also miniatures. I think over here are much bigger than big statues in terms of, forgive the irony, in terms of market.
Hmm.
There's much more. I mean, this is where Games Workshop is based and all of that, and it's where so you've got a lot, and there's a big culture of miniature making in Spain and Europe
Right.
and all of that. So that the market for those is much bigger over here as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm shocked that you don't have any of your own stuff.
no, I don't. I mean, actually, I think we were saying before, I do get the option to have my my statues for XM, but they have to travel quite a long way. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I haven't really got around to it yet. To having
Yeah.
them.
So that you're aware, Team Fortress 2 came out October 10th, 2007.
Oh, there you go. I was quite close.
You were very close.
Yep.
I'm actually really surprised. Yeah, that was good. And it just had an anniversary, so that's pretty
Oh, there you
interesting.
go.
Right?
All right. Okay.
And it's just how it says, "Oh man, I love Team Fortress 2. What a classic!"
Mhm.
Total. And
Right.
Halloween was the best time because they always had like Halloween themed events and they were a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with those.
Yeah.
Um,
Arson Art says, "Hello guys. Z Modeler is hard and tedious to handle, but it doesn't let you create end guns, which is useful."
Yeah, I imagine most games the devs will probably use it as I use it in terms of like it's good to create with, but if you're looking for usable topology, and visual effects guys as well, they probably steer well clear of it. They probably use something like Maya or Blender now these days, or an equivalent, to get their topology right. And I don't blame them either. But I think back in the day when ZBrush didn't have it, it was a real nightmare to get some clean looking hard surface stuff. You had to do it all with Dynamesh,
Yeah.
which was challenging at the best of times.
So Hannibal says, "Originally I was a comic penciler trained by Gray Williamson and Brian Stelfreeze. Both said to understand anatomy, you have to sculpt. Started sculpting and never looked back." Great, man.
Yes.
That's
I would agree with
fantastic.
that.
And Voxel Forge Miniatures says, "Miniatures are such a different beast from statues."
Yes, I would agree to that. It's funny because I think the two markets, in terms of like the actual product,
Yeah, the client base is similar. They have to be similar, right?
yeah, but of course the problem that miniatures have is that they are cheaper to produce, which was a plus point back in the day. But now, because people were selling their STL files for print, the market, if you're a sculptor, it's very, very difficult to get established in that market if you want to sell miniatures stuff, because the market itself is flooded with things, and a lot of these big producers are now selling sort of 30 miniatures every month for what, $10 or something.
Yeah.
And so the value, unfortunately, my view on that is that I don't think sculptures have valued themselves enough, and when that happens, people take advantage. And what's happened is that the market for sculpts, miniature, more wargaming scale miniatures, like 40 millimeter scale stuff, it's very difficult to make money at these days. Whereas when I started and things were still being cast, I know things still are being cast, but the market was mainly casted plastic miniatures. It was easier to get work a little bit, because if you were a good sculptor, because they needed sculptors, they needed people that understood how things print and stuff. But now I think there's so many sculptors out there with miniatures that it's it's a difficult market to succeed in,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like with so much in the market, how do you? And I think I've asked this before in a prior stream, but just for like new people joining the stream, like how do you stand out? And this isn't necessarily to get a job over at a miniatures company or a statues company like XM Studios. Just in general, right? How do you stand out amongst the crowd?
Yeah, it's a good question, Raul. And just by being individual, I guess. And again, like there's so many things happening in the world at the moment that are trying to stop us being individual, like things like artificial intelligence and all of this sort of stuff. And I would say it's even more important now to have your own taste and stuff. I mean, I said to someone recently that if I had the choice, I would not be making superheroes for sculpting superheroes. I've got my own creative agenda, and I think that's really important. And they were like like that when I said it, but I'm I'm able to what I'm able to do is I have my own creative drive in my own personal work, and I'm able to bring that into my professional work. But the two things are separate. I know there's quite a lot of debate probably with artists about whether you should, be sculpting. Should you really love what you're doing for a living? Well, of course, that's an element. But I think in terms of creative drive, my drive is elsewhere from what I do professionally. I think that's really important. Actually, I think it keeps me coming back to things, and that goes hand in hand with being a creative individual. And if you've got your own voice in your work, then that's going to make you stand out more. If you go on ArtStation, there's a sea of art that's fantastic, but it's all very similar. And actually, I think we were talking last week about how if you're a professional artist, you're going to be funneled into doing the same thing as everyone else. That's the way the companies want you to work. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you're all working on a game, they all want the art style to be the same. They all want some sort of synergy between the artists working on it. So there's a lot of factors as a professional artist that are trying to make your work conform, and so there's a very much like a little match going on between fighting match between those two, and it takes a little bit of artistic maturity, I guess, to be able to have that battle, and to understand it. And the only thing is I guess it's time, isn't it? Really, I think time will teach you, and it's taken me a long time. Like it took me 15 years after art school to really understand it. So there's no quick fix to it. Mike, I know you've been an artist for a long time as well, so you probably know it's the struggle, isn't it? That's what it's all about, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And the balance is really finding something that you enjoy doing that you can get paid for, and if and maintaining like you said, like your own personal stuff, right? So it's funny because some people, I do it, I think, in reverse of what other people do. Like everybody obviously wants their dream job.
Yeah.
I think that I've had a luxury of, I've been a freelancer. I just added this up the other day. I've been freelancing for next year. It will be next year. It will be 20 years. I've always kind of taken on jobs that were interesting to me and exciting to me. And when I first started off, I only took jobs where I would learn a new skill, right? So like my first job sucked, but it was something that taught me how to use Photoshop. And then I got as far as I could get with those guys, and I left and went to a different job. So being able to do that until I got to a point where, okay, I know how to use these tools, and now I can do something that I enjoy, allowed me, now I got into illustration, and then, I got into package design and things like that. So I think if you have a plan, that, you can have a great work-life balance, but it's very easy to fall into something where you're at a mundane job that pays the bills, and you're kind of stuck there. Nobody really wants that.
I think there's also a little surprise waiting for a lot of people, where they think, I think there's a misconception with especially with statues, where like you're not going to get to do what you want to do either. Even if you're a professional, like you're not going to, no one gets a big Batman statue straight out off the bat. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And even if that does, I mean, take my only big Batman statue, which was the White Knight. That's Sean Murphy's Batman, not mine. At the end of the day, it's his creative decisions, his creativity in that. I mean, I guess I've been able to add myself to that sculpt a little bit in the details and in the translation. But at the end of the day, you've got someone looking over you saying that looks wrong, change this, change that. You're not going to be left to your own devices on this stuff. These statues are multi-million dollar developments, like
Right.
So yeah, like you're not gonna be left to your own devices on them, and that's true for a lot of art across the board, really, like whether it's games or visual effects or something. Like you don't tend to have much creative control, only in the details.
So then, and that I think that's true in any industry, in anything that
I think
you
you're
work
right.
in,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah.
In business or anything else that you're doing, like you may be going to school for X, and you may love X, but you're gonna end up doing Y quite a bit, and so
Exactly.
and usually not in the direction you want to be doing it, right? It's
Yeah, I think that's why I think when you're first starting out, not to have the attitude. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious and saying I want to do that, but I think just having your mind that to get to that point, there might be an abstract way. Life will throw these little curveballs at you, and so I mean, I wanted to be an illustrator. I wanted to be like the next Mike Minola or whatever. I really wanted to do that, but I've just ended up where I am here, and I'm happy that I'm here. So I think it's just like take what life gives you as well. There's an element to that, and realize that you're still working towards something, and I'll probably still be working towards that when I'm 60 or whatever. It's just the way art is, I think, really.
Yeah. All amazing, guys. Matthew says this is a message everyone needs to lean into, right? Yeah, things don't happen overnight. It takes practice and perseverance, and just keep pushing through, right?
Yep.
Now Hannibal says unless you're Aram, and then you get a Batman out the gate. So it's just how it says great points. I got a major in animation and ended up sculpting merch, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, right? Like you can end up doing something you love that you never knew you loved doing.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly. I think I think I've said in the streams before, but if I haven't, I really enjoy my job as art director at XM. It's fantastic. It's everything that I've wanted to do for a long time. So, but I would never have thought even 5 years ago I want to be an art director. So like these things, life hands you these little opportunities and these little things, and you've got to take them and see where it goes. And a lot of the time that will help you inform your decisions of what you want to be doing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony says life throws curves at some and sledgehammers at others.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
that's a very good way of putting it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, when that happens, you need to do what the dodgeball thing. What is it? A duck, dodge, dive.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Don't get hit by the wrench.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Everyone has felt that wrench, I think.
Everybody has felt that wrench. They sure have. Aram says, as an example, and I think this goes back to kind of light up stuff. Can you explain how you would approach a light up feature bat signal? What techniques would you say to pay attention to, or technicality? Sorry.
Well, the big thing you're going to have is it's a big surface area for a bat signal. So you're going to have trouble with light leaks all over the place. So you need to firstly have some sort of light box that softens the light, because what you're going to have is two big light spots where the lights are, or one spot, or however many lights you've got in there. You're just going to have these little spots with radiating light out, not just a single bat signal. So you have to create a light box inside of that to diffuse the light. You also have to paint the bits that you don't want lit up black. Or and I said there's a fabric material paint that you can paint like as a black paint that you can get that's very, very matte, and it stops all light. So I would look into that. You can find it on YouTube, I think, somewhere. And I remember watching a modeling YouTube with it on. So that's one thing. Of course, you need to keep everything hollow, so you've got to think of where the wires are going to go, where the battery's going to go, all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot to think about. I think it's beyond the scope of commentary on YouTube, to be honest. There's a lot, but I would say, actually, on the flip side to that, there are a lot of excellent modeling tutorials on YouTube that cover it. So I would definitely, YouTube is the place to go. There's loads of stuff out there that will be able to teach you all that. But I wouldn't look at sculptors. I would look for modelers, scale modeling.
So why would you look at modelers as opposed to sculptors?
Well, because most sculptors don't do that sort of thing. Fun enough, it's modelers that do it. So, I mean, if you look at people that make custom Gundams and stuff like that, their techniques are very, like they'll use those kind of very tried and true techniques for lighting. But I would look more at people like European modelers. They tend to, where they're doing big sort of Star Wars sort of 1/72 scale sort of Millennium Falcons and all this sort of stuff, where they're using big light rigs and stuff for it, because it is really useful to see how they use the model of the wires in and stuff like that. It's very useful. As a sculptor, I'm not sure there's anything you can outside of. I would start your knowledge base with modeling over sculpting as a modeler. So what I would do is I would buy a model kit like a Gundam and try and put lights in it first to learn how to do it, and then I would move into sculpting. That's what I'm doing, to be fair. That's what I've done. I've got
do you hollow it out like when you're going through that
so
process?
you'd have to hollow it out. If you look at most modelers, they'll cut they'll cut into the modelers with a scalpel or a drill, or and so there is a real element of like hands-on approach to it. It's a serious undertaking.
Aram, are you asking because you have a statue that you're working on, or something that you're working on that you want to add lights to? I can only assume if you asked for a bat signal, I can only assume that that you're making one, right? I know I would start with an example. Asking for a friend, right? Asking for a friend. What about X, Y, and Z? Guys, did we want to start moving into the direction of the get feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
time? Oh, okay, it's 12:30. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So we, for everybody who doesn't know, there's a segment of the stream where we provide feedback for any piece of work that you put into the get feedback portion of the Discord. It may be a work in progress, it may be finished work, whatever you would like to put out there. And you know, Mike, Bradley, James, I might even throw in a couple words in there, but I'm not the expert there. Give feedback on the work that you guys throw in. As for this stream, I don't think we're going to take any additional submissions, but anything you put out there, if we don't get to it this stream, we'll definitely make sure to get up on the following stream. I did add a link to the Discord in the chat, so if you guys are interested, go ahead and follow that through. And before we even get to that section, like the stream, share it, subscribe, all that good jazz.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I am going to, I think this is going to stop the music, but that is going to have to be fine. Okay. I am going to now share my screen. Can I do a window? And get Discord, get feedback. Here we go, guys. All right. So the first submission of the day is from Sculio. He says, work in progress. I spent 7 hours on it. Thanks in advance.
Oh.
And so here's the piece of art that he's there's definitely always a theme to Sculio's models if you haven't figured that out as of yet.
I really love. I think because I remember some of the stuff from the last streams and of his work. I love it. He's got a very fluid sense of movement to his pieces, which is rare in you know in digital sculpture. So yeah, I really like it. It's really cool. It's got some nice action to it. My only critique on this is that if you look at the leg, there's no to study the S curves of the leg. So there's no curve to it. There's no weight. So if you were to look at his leg sticking out in the main image, like there's no flow to it. So if you study some life drawing, or you can see that the leg has like a real S curve to it. Yeah, it's worth studying, and I think that will add that extra nice shape to your sculpts and stuff. But I kind of like the loose anatomy as well on this. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. That's what I was going to say. He feels a little bit stiff, and like if I'm looking at the picture that's in the upper right hand corner, I see like it's very much like a T, right? So I feel like if that S curve that James was talking about is the same thing that I come back to all the time. I feel like if there was more of that S going through from his head, like the curve, almost like a C curve going down to his knee, and then that knee bringing it back could be bent even more to push it, then you're going to get a nice S from that direction. I wouldn't mind if the arms were a bit more. They're almost like very straight across right now. Like I wouldn't mind if they were a bit more kind of angled as well, just to push the dynamism. So like the one on the left hand side in that upper right hand corner, if that was down a little bit, his right arm, and then the front arm was a little higher and maybe a little more across his body, would feel like he's really kind of reaching for that jump, like he's barely going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's jumping from rooftop to rooftop and he's just, barely going to clear it. But yeah, no, I like the character overall. I always like, this is Ermcell, right?
Yeah. No, this is Sculio.
Sculio, sorry. I always like Sculio's stuff. Yeah. Yep.
How do you feel about this sharp kind of?
I don't mind it. I feel like if that leg was bent back a little more, so almost like he's trying to touch the back of his head with that leg, or with that foot rather, would feel even more like, Brad Grotman is the guy that I constantly, even last night, he was giving me last minute tips on my jet shred. And that's good because usually he gives me the advice like well after I'm done. Shout out to Brad Grotman. But yeah, no, the one thing that he's kind of ingrained in everything I think about with posing is pushing that pose almost to an absurd level, because it just it makes it more dynamic, and you could have the best anatomy, you could have the best sculpt and the best textures and everything on your piece, and if the pose is just boring, then it's not a great piece.
Yeah, it's
That's my view.
actually there's a book called Drawing. Well, I can't remember what it's called now. Sorry, but it's the Marvel drawing book by Stan. I think it's written by Stan Lee, and
Is it How to Draw the Marvel Way?
that's exactly it. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
if you haven't got that book in your library, get it,
Yeah.
because it really does explain some of those concepts that you were talking about, Mike, about pushing. Like at the end of the day, we don't, unless you're doing some things that needs to be specifically realistic or have grounds in realism, like you don't need to worry about this stuff. You can push it. You can. This is what both Mike and I are doing with our sculpts. Like we're pushing the like some of the poses, they're not exactly what you'd be able to pull off in a static photo even, but that's not, we're not making a photo, we're making like this point in time that we're trying to capture, and you can play around with that, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to necessarily have to be rigid. And it's definitely something that I learned. I guess Mike learned as well as an illustrator. Like to push these little details and
100%.
the shapes.
100%.
Like I feel like the shape design. When you first approach this this sculpt, like to have more of an idea of the line going through it, and that will really help your sculpt going forward, I think.
Yeah, but there is like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Schoolio. Like you have done some stretching on where the neck is and how the head is way out over the body. Like you've done a lot of what we're talking about. Like if we're looking at it from, I'll tell you when to pause. Hold on a second. Go. Stop. Oh, come on. Okay. Well, anyway, right there's good. Yeah. So stop. Like right there. There you've got that S. Like you got the S going from the top of the head down through his right foot. You have it on the left leg. So you got it in the tail. So it's just trying to take that shape and rotate around the model and get it in as many angles as you can, because it's very easy. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube, right? It's like, it's very easy to get one dope angle. But the problem with the statue, if you plan to print this thing, is that, you see it from multiple angles. And I've had many a piece where it looks amazing from one angle and then the rest of it is boring. So, that's just the thing. Carry it through. But good job, man. I like it.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks well done.
Let's drop that like bam. Guys, can I get a full camera view from you guys?
Sorry.
Wait, you don't have, it's not full for you?
No.
Oh, full for us. Sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, good call.
Because we're kind of hidden in the corner. Sorry, I noticed that.
I see what you're saying there.
All right. So Schoolio is on the stream. Hey, Schoolio. Says thanks, guys.
Nice.
I know you were on here earlier, but glad to see that you stuck out.
Hey,
before we get on to the next one, actually, let's do this. So this is from Frederick. He says, this is my first stylized sculpt based on Scarecrow from the 90s Batman animated series. I'm rendering with cycles. So let's pull this up. I think I'm only sharing. Let me actually drop my share and share my total screen. Because I want to open this up in more of a full screen, show original, and pop this up over here.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. Oh man, I like that a lot, dude.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's got a very nice silhouette and everything. I like it.
Very on theme.
I love so let me tell you something. I'm looking for something not to like about this and I can't find it. So kudos on that. I don't usually like museum type poses. I mean, the pose is not incredibly dynamic, but it doesn't have to be, because that the texture dude, come on, pick an angle and stop and stay with
No, I'm doing it so that I can easily select between them. So just give me a sec.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you're doing. So
Yeah.
the texture on the smoke, the fact that it's catching those, man. I like this piece. I like this piece a lot. Freaking smoke. Everybody can do smoke with me. James, you and who did this?
This one's Frederick.
Frederick, you and James.
I
don't like you guys
I dropped out a little
anymore.
bit for the. Yeah, I like the smoke. The smoke is great. I actually like the side as well. The side looks like half a bat symbol. I like that. That's quite cool as well. I like that.
It's dope.
Yeah, it's nothing like I'm with Mike. There's nothing wrong with this at all. Like, I mean, I'm not that we're having to find things wrong with stuff, but it's difficult to critique. I think I would try and add some more dynamism from the side a little bit. I know it's difficult to do that with a standing thing, but even if his arm's a bit further back to break the silhouette there, because it's quite a simplistic silhouette. That's kind of nitpicky though, to be honest. But it's something if I was art director, I'd probably ask you to do to, add maybe a little bit of emphasis on the elbow there, just to create more of a bit of interest from that side view. But yeah,
hey,
it looks great.
Did you notice the batarangs and the pumpkins?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's a nice touch
killer,
as well.
man.
Yeah, that's wicked. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
the
a
render
very
on
nice
the pumpkins is dope. Yeah, I'm not mad at this at all. You know what? See, this is where you messed up. I'm gonna need you to post your lighting setup in Blender with this, so I can see exactly how you got it to look the way you got it to look. But yeah, no, I'm with James. The only thing I would do if we're being nitpicky is his left arm that's holding the scythe. I would probably bring that. Keep the bend in the elbow, but move it forward a bit more. So from the side, it's a little further. And you could even take the bottom of the scythe and bring it more over towards his right foot. So it's kind of going across his body. It's thin enough that it's not going to obscure him at all. And that, and the right arm, I would maybe swing it back from the shoulder a little bit so that it's kind of got one arm forward, one arm back.
At the moment, it fits on a plane from the front, so you've got to try and break that plane a little bit.
Yes.
I would recommend.
But kudos, you nailed that, nice. Man.
Yeah, good stuff.
Excellent smoke. I'm gonna steal that smoke. You mind? I'm gonna steal it, Fred.
I might try it as well. I
might. Yeah, it looks like there were a couple others here with the details on the base.
Yeah.
He's sitting like there's a kind of a bat, the Batman symbol.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Like it.
No, well done.
Yeah.
And that base 100% looks like that looks like a print. It looks like it just came off my Photon Mono X.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah,
all right, so this is actually integrating some of the feedback that we've had on the last stream. So Manuel says, hey guys, worked on the Wendy Torrance sculpt this week. Here's the update. Thanks for the feedback last week. So let's pull that up. If you guys remembered, I don't believe she was as clothed,
not fleshed out.
The last time, the last time she was up.
Dude,
I think it's everything. Great. Yeah,
I love that carpet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually just and if you look at it too, it's catching it's catching her foot.
Yeah, it's dope. The runner is sweet.
Yeah.
And it 100% feels like it's right out of The Shining. Like that's that creepy-esque carpet that they had. Yeah,
I like it. I'm assuming that it's that they've used a bit of cloth sim, but I must say it doesn't distract. A lot of the time that distracts me on sculptures, but I think it looks great. I think it actually adds to the feel of it. One thing I would say, sorry, mate. One thing I would say is that it's kind of thrown me. I understand why it's there. Is her right arm is a bit too bent forward, like it looks a bit funky. I know that's basically
like a stylized thing.
Yeah, stylized. So it's kind of forgivable, but I would, if you look at the angle of her. from her foot that's created going up towards her torso, so it goes all the way up. There's a line, there's a big sweeping line. There's no reason why you can't mirror that in that arm, and it wouldn't look bad, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, you could
maybe a
have
little
a
less.
hand a bit further up the back, maybe, or something to consider, perhaps. But it's that's the only thing that looks slightly awkward to me. But it's difficult to point that out because it is a stylized, awkward sculpt. It's purposefully like that. So again, that's perhaps nitpicky, but
Yeah.
Well,
it looks
that
great sculpt.
yeah, that right arm it almost looks like a double jointed thing, right? Because it's kind of counter bent that one way. But if we look at the first picture on the left, there's also kind of
It hooks in.
it almost looks
Yeah.
almost like a bend to it that way too. That is a little counter, but I like it in the front. So just like what James is saying, I would maybe lessen it a bit or drop that arm down. I wouldn't mind seeing her right arm underneath of the left arm and see what that looks like. I don't know if that would mess up the feeling.
I think that's quite a good idea, Mike. I think so. The only other thing I would say is her face looks too head on at the moment. So it looks too straight from the front. So you just add that little turn to it, like because in sculpture, like you don't really want to have someone straight on, looking straight on. Like you tilt the body one way and tilt the head the other, so that there's some sort of dynamism going on there.
Yeah,
that's
get a little bit of contrapposto on it.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
So I'm curious, how do you guys feel about the face? Given
I feel like that. So I'm never a fan of too much AO, and I feel like I know ZBrush added that AO shader that really punches the shadows a lot. I don't really dig those. I think you have some really nice details, especially in the clothing, that are too pronounced because the AO is so high. So I that was the first thing I noticed. I know my buddy, I think my buddy Tony Gore uses that AO shader sometimes, and it gets a little heavy-handed and steps on the sculpt. So that would be the one thing I would like to see it without that on. And then the other thing I noticed, if you're looking at it from the side, the other side, I like that one, but isn't there a view from the right side, Raul?
Oh yeah, this one there. Look, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember this outfit. I wouldn't mind if maybe there was a little more. I think it's almost like it's almost like an overall skirt dress thing, right? So
that's
I
what
wouldn't mind if there was. I know she was rail thin in the movie. That's just the way she looks. I wouldn't mind if there was a little. It wasn't as fitted onto her like her stomach and her breast, right? Like if there was a little bit looser
bagginess,
a little more bagginess, I think, because you have that really nice kind of gathering that's happening where the right leg bends and the skirt kind of falls over it. Like I love the way that drapery looks, and I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of that looseness in the top of the outfit as well. Yeah, that's it.
I think that just going, but I would like to see a bit more expressiveness in the face as well, and it's a little bit too symmetrical. Again, turning the head will prevent that as well. But also, like it looks like she's looking head on as well. So, like again, I think I said it last week, but note how the eye socket changes when someone's looking left or right as well. You can add all these little things in there to add asymmetry and to add more interest, because it is an interesting sculpt. But as you get to the head, it's like from the front view, at least, it needs a little bit more interest there, to hold the eye, I think. So yeah, I guess that's, again, feels a little bit overcritical because it is a good sculpt. So, but it'd be to get the most out of it, I would definitely focus on making the head a little bit more asymmetrical, and also maybe play around with the arms a bit more as well. But yes, fantastic. I love the base. The base is really creative. It's really cool.
Yeah, these are all for me. These are all minor changes, right? Like this is all stuff. Of course, I wouldn't do anything large.
No.
But with that head, even bringing the chin up a bit,
Yeah.
So it's almost like she's looking up because you have such a nice slump to the shoulders. So the head could actually come down a bit and she looks up a little bit. And then you have like an awesome like S shape from that side.
Yeah.
So, and then you give it a little bit of a twist, like James says, and then, that's game over already. It's more interesting, but these are very much kudos on that base though, for real. Like it's a minimal base, but adding there's a curve to it, which is sweet. And then adding that runner and having it kind of flow the way that it does is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Good on you.
All right.
Yeah. Well done.
Great. So Jamie B says spent the last 2 weeks working on.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, this is what I wanted James to see.
Yeah, this is a White Knight-esque piece, and love to see what you guys think and what I would do to enhance or improve. Still a work in progress. Lots of parts to and details to finish. So hold on. Let me open both up.
I believe one of those fires is mine.
I believe it. So like this is probably the best one to start with. Just
dude, kudos on that bike for real.
That bike looks epic. Yeah, the bike.
Yeah.
Is it the Law Master? It's called the Law Master. I'm pretty sure.
Dude.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Very cool. Nice eagle too, man. Like, geez.
Yeah, it's nice modeling.
Well done.
I like it's got a big old motor on it as well. I like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Super as a side note, let me also get to Frederick says thank you guys so much. I'm going to be doing a Harley Quinn pinup for Christmas and work on getting a really expressive pose.
Cool.
Nice.
He also says, at Mike, I gave the smoke a very low amount of emission so it doesn't glow, but it keeps the edges soft. I'll hit you up on the Discord and share some files pertaining to the light setup.
Thank you. I love that. I love your icon too. I'm assuming that's your daughter doing the fist up. That's very cool.
Yeah. And Sura Deep says, hello, masters. And what is up, Stylus League? What's up?
What's up?
And Manuel says, thanks, guys, for the feedback.
Welcome.
All right.
Yeah, I think getting like any pose on a bike is one of the most tricky things I've ever done sculpting, because not only do you have to put in to create weight on the body, but you also have to create weight on the bike as well. And it's something that's very, very difficult to pull off. And so I would say on this, I think the bike looks great. I love it. It's really stocky and it's got that kind of 2000 AD feel. It's fantastic. But for the pose, like I would try and move his.
Think we lost James.
There he is. Kind of.
Coming back.
It's always on the most riveting part that he's about to actually like.
It's always where you're on the edge of your seat. You're like, oh, what is he gonna say? So while we're waiting for James to come back, what are your opinions, Mike?
I think the bike is fantastic. Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm very interested. I love the detailing on the bits that I'm struggling with, right? So like the eagle looks dope, the badge looks dope, all that stuff. Very well done. So all that hard surface stuff is killer. I would not mind if Dread were a bit thicker like he looks very, almost like he has a swimmer's body, right? You know how they have very little body fat. I wouldn't mind if he was a little wider in the torso. You back, James?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I dropped me out of the stream. So,
oh man. Yeah. So I'm just finishing up the comments, and I'll let you hop back on it. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if, and I know this is early, right? Like this is early, but the dreads that I've been looking at, the reference that I've been looking at, he isn't, especially, you're not getting a lot of the muscles through his suit because he's wearing like the leather biker suit or whatever. So if he put on maybe another 15 pounds, I'm digging that. James, go ahead and do what you got cut off when you were talking about.
Yeah, I do apologise to everyone. Like it's like
worries.
Mike says, I keep getting cut off on the best bits. So yeah, you've got this point where he is, he's got his foot firmly down on the ground, but you're going to have to really check your anatomy to get that to look right where his hip is on where his left leg is, because look at how the pelvis rotates as it's sat on the bike, and his right leg is raised onto the bike. It was very tricky for Martin and I to get that. Goes right. In fact, I posed it about between. It keeps cutting out. Sorry. Yeah. So so you're gonna have to think about that anatomy, because it looks a bit blobby on there at the moment. You need to, and the kind of the torso twists quite almost like unnaturally there at the moment. So just try and think about where the bone structure is, and that will help you out a lot there as well.
Yeah. Is Steamwork says something to point out on the bike in a slide like that, turn the front wheel slightly to the right. In a slide like that, he would start to counter steer even if it was super slight.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, this suffers from the same problem as the White Knight bat bike, in that it's too chunky to steer. Like, like it would not work. It's not particularly roadworthy, so it needs a bit of like imagination to work in your heads, I guess. And one thing I would say is that the White Knight bike was steered a little bit, but we had to unsteer it because it just none of the things would fit.
Right.
So yeah, it's like what works in a comic book sometimes doesn't work in reality. So as your job as a sculptor is kind of straddle the two things, and as long as it looks good, I think most people are going to be fairly forgiving. But I still get the odd sort of message and comment saying that thing would never be roadworthy. It would never steer. I mean, no one's proposing this for an actual bike, guys. It's a comic book bike. It's definitely something you're going to struggle with this piece, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
I love when people like that's the criticism that you get. Like,
yeah.
Well, there's two things on this piece. It's one that it wouldn't work, it'd be too heavy and it wouldn't steer properly, and the other one is that the exhaust would blow, would basically roast his lower body,
blow right up into him. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is they're all relevant. They're all relevant comments, really. But it is a fictitious bike. So
yeah.
But right. Same. It's very similar to this. But I would say don't let that perturb you. I think it looks fantastic, and definitely you're going to learn so much posing him on the bike. Like it's one of the most difficult things you're going to do, getting this pose to look right. So don't be forgiving with yourself. Try it a couple of times. Don't be afraid to try it, and you'll learn loads from it. And it looks great. The bike looks fantastic. I think it looks really cool.
I would agree. All right. Moving on, and fire. All right. so Shane was talking.
Oh, surely.
Yeah. So Shane was saying that he was doing the same type of pose that Mike was, and wanted to share in the Discord. So here we go.
Shane, how long did this take you, dude?
I bet if he says
don't make me
a day or something.
I believe he said he did this an hour and a half before the stream started.
Shut up.
That's a low blow.
Yeah.
That's
I like the lawgiver you've got. I like the gun. That's just what I've of course been spent the last couple of hours doing. or the hour or so. So that looks pretty cool. But it looks really cool. Looks very.
It's great, man.
Yeah.
He's got the what was the pose that you were talking about, at least from that angle that you made me look up, the grimace.
Yeah. Dude, I love that badge. You guys are killing it on the badge. How's everybody doing badges?
Yeah, this badge looks really good. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Good job.
So any points of feedback? I mean, it is a work in progress, but
Well, it's stylized, so
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, all of the stuff that I would say is it maybe that's what they want. I don't see any problems with it. I might push that side pose a bit more. Let's see from the side again. This is what Brad was having me do last night, is really bend his back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that kind of gives you that kind of really makes it feel like he is towering over him and makes him feel even larger.
It's kind of a yin yang kind of approach to this composition, where they need to occupy the same space together in some way. So like in fact, that like if you were to draw a line, like Dread's almost cradling a death from below, so you really need to accentuate that with the pose a little bit. So as moving his left foot out almost so that his legs almost straight, even to get that real feel, because the weight is on the weight is on the left leg, so extend the right foot out. It's just to really sell us that weight there. That's really important, I think. So you can see where Mike's put, he's really pushed that foot, that right foot out, and the weight is all on that left leg. And that's definitely a way that you can kind of get Dread bent backwards the way he is, and you can then move Death into that unoccupied space on top of him. But it looks fantastic. I mean, Mike, yours looks fantastic as well, Mike. I think they're both really cool.
Yeah, no.
For the anatomy, I would say he needs a bit more crotch area. Like he's like, yeah. So again, like, I don't want to be too harsh, because as Mike said, there's a stylized element to this. So
yeah.
But I would say that his torso is a little short, so I'd add a bit more length to his short torso. But these have got kind of a more traditional miniature proportions to them. It's the sort of stuff you'd see in a miniature.
I like it though. Like I'm not mad at this at all. Well done.
I like the Death's helmet as well. Death's helmet looks good as well. It's a difficult one to do that. Yeah.
Well, we don't have a huge straight on shot of the face, but I think he did a great job here.
I mean,
because you could definitely see a lot of detail.
Yeah,
I love the tendons in his neck are pronounced. Like I still need to do that. Like, well, you did it. You did it.
Yeah.
If you did that
in a big chin, love the big chin. That's what Dread's all about. The old big old grimace chin.
Big old chin. What I need to know how long this took you, Shane, because this is going to determine whether we can be friends or not. So
Shane, do us a favor and lie.
Yeah. Jamie B says, that's great help, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, the pose is a beast to master.
But you'll do it. You'll have fun with it. You'll do it.
And then Aram says, thanks, guys, for the stream. This sounds like Aram is dropping out. Special thanks to James for taking the time and answering every question, and apologies in advance to James, because I definitely definitely going to be bugging him from time to time. So, okay. So this comes from Orlando, and I believe this is kind of
started. I
remember this from last week. Yeah.
I think this is an update. He says, here's an update with the feedback you gave me last week and advancing the hands props, and would love some advice on the pose. So let's pull that up.
Yeah. That looks awesome.
So I like the anatomy. I like the proportions. I think that it still feels very symmetrical. Well, obviously it is still symmetrical. I would not mind seeing you do small breaks in that. You can still kind of keep the pose for the guy in the front, but break that symmetry a bit. You know what I mean? Like his arms don't have to be perfectly, square shoulder. You could have a little bit of that shoulder kind of cocked, and then carry that through and have a counter angle in the waist, so that there's more weight on one leg than the other. And that, maybe I might spread the gait on his stance a little bit, maybe widen that gait a little bit, so that his legs are at least shoulder width, if not, for this maybe a bit more than shoulder width apart. That's going to make him feel more dynamic, I think. From the side, the beast is kind of obscuring him with the hand. However, I like that he's leaning forward. I might even bring his back a bit more, and then bring his chin down. That makes him feel like a little more heroic. And I just can't help looking at the beast and being like, he's like, "What's up, bro? What's up?
I was
Come at me,
exactly
come at
that
me,
when I was
bro.
looking at it.
Come at me, bro."
I think the I think I'm a little bit. Everything's great. I think and also he's resolved the kind of problem with the muscles on the chest that we had
Yes.
last week.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is the arms do puzzle me in that what's he doing? What's the beast doing? He's kind of like as almost zombified. Like he's not doing much with his arms. They look kind of too passive to me, whereas I would be more inclined to have him nearly cradling the guy, or I don't know. There's something, or straighter even, so that they're like claws or something, as opposed to just at the side, which looks almost like a T pose kind of thing that you just haven't posed the hands up or something. It's kind of it's something I would try and focus on, like tell us a story with the hands. Like at the moment they're not really part of the scene, or it doesn't feel like they're part of the scene. And I'm with Mike as well. You need to create a little bit more asymmetry in the anatomy a little bit, or add a few twists and turns for us, so that we, as I always say, sell us the pose. It's not really, but you're not really selling it to us at the moment. I think the composition is great. I think it's a really interesting composition, and that's definitely has potential. It's like it's very, very much a classic fantasy-esque sort of pose, isn't it? I can just sort of see it now as the cover of a 70s Dungeons and Dragons book or something. It looks wicked. So yeah, it has potential. But yeah, it's just figuring out what to do with those hands, and selling us the story a little bit more.
With something like that, I wouldn't mind seeing him maybe coming past the character. Like for this one that I have on my screen, it's those hands are kind of down on the ground, almost like, gorilla type style, where he's like the weight is on him and they're forward, but you have the character underneath. And it can look very menacing and make the scale feel very large if it's kind of looming over the person that's casting this thing. So, once you figure out those hands, it's going to be a thing. I wouldn't mind having the weight on one hand at least, just from a print standpoint. If you ever wanted to print it, it feels like, everything's not resting on that little bit of smoke that's coming out of the back of it.
Well, I mean, I had a similar problem actually with the Robin King that I did. It's a similar sort of issue where, and what we did is we made, like, because his hands, there's like the Darkest Night has his hands over Rob, so we really needed to make it look like he was lurching over Robin and almost controlling him like a puppet. And so we managed to sort of synchronize the arms with each other as well. So it was just sort of telling that story of the characters and adding the kind of dynamism to it that's going to sell the story and the pose and everything. I think that's what needs to happen here for us to kind of get it.
I will say I really like the face on the beast.
Yeah, they're cool. It's very cool. Yeah.
Good job.
All right, so we have an entry here from Mini Chick Studios. Still early stages, but I'd love to hear input from you guys. It's going to be a dark fantasy miniature in 1/8 scale with possibility of a bigger option. All elements are without detailing, and she needs something for her right hand. The pose is done, but the hands need reworking. I will add more accessories around the waist. Actually, before we even get through all of this, I apologize because there were some pieces of chat on this pose. First of all, Shane started that other piece about a week before we
cheating then,
started.
Shane. Cheating.
Oh,
And Aaron said he would have the beast lean over him even more and put one of his hands down on the ground, have him lean into it.
yeah.
And Hannibal mentioned rotate the hands out and maybe back up a little bit in a punching pose.
I said that's pouncing. Sorry, mate.
Pouncing. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yep. And then Orlando says, thanks, guys, for the feedback.
Cool.
You're welcome.
So
Cool.
sorry, we'll get back to Mini Chix's submission here.
Okay.
So, James, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I like the pose. I actually like that she's got that kind of pose with her. I'm getting my left and right mixed up today, guys. Sorry. That her right leg kind of creates that nice sort of C like curve. The B curve, as I think some illustrators called it. And yeah, I like it. I think she's got a nice kind of feel to it. I find the anatomy a little bit too hard for a woman, so I would try and add a little bit more softness into there. It's really, really difficult. This is why Stylus League has probably been such a sausage fest over the time, because it's so
There has been.
because it's so difficult to make when female poses believable and add the softness that in digitally, it's very, very difficult. And so for me though, that this anatomy on this looks a little bit too hard. So the big things of the key to getting female form right, in my opinion, is to get the fatty. There's a lot of fatty pockets on the female body, and those are actually more prevalent than the muscles in most normal proportion women. So yeah, you need to focus a little bit more on those and where they collectively build up around the top of the leg and the hip. And maybe bring the abs, tone the abs down a little bit. I know that you're probably going for a super athletic look, but maybe tone those down a bit. Also, her breasts are too circular as well. Breasts, the best way to think about breasts is a pair of water balloons, and then put them on a surface, and they drape, and they form that they actually hug the figure, the tube of the torso. At the moment, they look there's too much roundness going there, so they look like they've been kind of stuck on. So a little bit more. I mean, it's they're not bad, but they just need to have a little bit more gravity.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Well, while James is broken up here, I'm going to dovetail off of what he was saying. I agree with. Oh, you back?
Them to look a bit more.
No, he's cutting.
Okay,
he's cutting in and out.
Cutting in and out. Okay, so I would say that maybe that problem with the breast being too circular right now could be fixed easily by maybe softening the transition to the top of her ribs, where the bottom, like underneath of them. Right now, I know this is a whip, so maybe it just hasn't gotten to that part yet. It looks like the clothing is kind of just, this is the block-in stage. So, James, what I was just saying is to kind of handle what you were just talking about is I feel like maybe the chest and that outfit are two separate pieces that once they're joined together and smoothed, that crease isn't as hard underneath of the chest. It's going to look a lot more natural, and that's going to give you a little more of that drape that you're talking about. And maybe you could like sculpt in some of that so it's there. It feels like the fabric is kind of not completely adhering to the bottom. That's one thing. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I wouldn't add too much to the hips, to be honest. I think if you're going to add accessories, I would try and I would try and keep the hips as they are. I think they're great. I think they accentuates the femininity, you know, a lot of the piece, and you don't want to add too much there to distract. So I kind of like that. I like that part of the sculpt. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Mike, as well.
Yeah.
I find the eyes are a little bit too big as well for this. They're not deep and set enough, perhaps, as well. So that's another sort of thing that I would focus on. But yeah, it's a cool sculpt.
Yeah, for the what James was talking about with the fatty pockets too. Like I 100% am on board with that. I think that she can look very feminine and also lean without having the abs so defined. So I would probably like even like I have, you know, whenever I'm looking for reference, when in the very rare times that I ever do work on women, it's usually like swimsuit photos, and I'll find that even the women who look lean still have, you know, the like a bit more like of a fat layer on top of their abdomen, and that's going to look feminine and also nice. So I love the hip. I love the thighs, the length of the legs. I really think that sells it. Like I like that a lot, and just the overall mass, like where it tapers down to the ankles. It's not, you didn't go crazy with the thigh muscles and everything there. Like everything is as it should be, I think. And I can even see the top of the like that the bone on the pelvis. That looks great too. What I wouldn't mind seeing with this, just to kind of get into the pose that you have, kind of leaning into it, is if you were to bring her left hand over and have it kind of resting up against the hip with that piece dangling down. And then, you know, because you have a nice, like there's a counter angle to the shoulders and the hips, right? You have that kind of like that you know, greater than sign, as Brad Gropman calls it. And so if that hand right now, it looks like she's holding the weight of that, you know, it's almost like that thing. I used to be an altar boy, spoiler, when I was younger. And the priest had that little incense thing on Christmas that he would go and kind of, you just get nauseous by the time the service is over with. But yeah, like if that was over and kind of leaning on, her hand was leaning, at least maybe kind of like the forearm was coming across her hip, then that could be in front of her a little bit. And I think that would make a bit more sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think maybe one way to fight then to going forward with this sculpt is to look at where the elbows are on the sculpt. So like for a left arm, you know, you've maybe pushed that elbow in a little bit more. So because at the moment it's just very loose, but having it in more might improve the silhouette a little bit as well, and give that arm a bit more purpose and accentuate the curves of the sculpt, which is what you kind of want to do with a feminine sculpt like this. But yeah, I think it's a good start. I think it's looking good.
Absolutely. When you do move the hand, like if you try it, the second picture here, the second from the left, is incredibly successful, right? So I would try not to. That is actually. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. So yeah, if you keep like, I love the second angle. Like that's, you know how I say there's always a hero angle for a piece. So if you can move that hand successfully over and get it kind of across her hip the way I was talking about, and then also kind of keep the feel of that second one, then I think that, you know, that's a score for me. Yeah, but I like this piece. Nice piece.
Yeah,
great. We got a hey from Ketsu Kras.
Who was saying? Who was that again, Raul? Who was that?
Come on, Raul. Come on.
Ketsu Kras.
Okay.
All right. I think this was the last one that was submitted before we began the segment. There's a couple of these that were submitted afterwards.
So we'll get those other ones next week.
Next
guys?
week, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
grab those next week. So his Anastasi says, "Hey, this piece is a companion to my demon I posted last week. It's based on an old Bulgarian fantasy novel. He is like Dennis the Menace in Middle Earth. I just started it. Can you guys say, does it look like he is 15? Also, there is something the clothes that doesn't feel right. Maybe it's the wrinkles."
Let's have a look.
I really like this pose.
I'm gonna open this up a little bit more.
It's quite a cool. It's a cool pose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what you're finding with the clothing, it's a bit too tube-like on the, like there's too much basic shape to it where it needs to be more looser. Like it's very much too stiff at the moment. So try and get some reference maybe with someone wearing shorts like this, and see how the cloth collapses around the leg. I think it's still very tubular at the moment. It still looks very kind of basic 3D sort of stuff. So yeah, you just need to make it more oval shaped in profile. If you were to do a cross profile of it, than circular. At the moment, it's very circular.
Hey James.
Yeah.
Would you say it's totally tubular?
It's totally tubular.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my god.
You're going to cut that. That's going to be like a GIF or something.
Yeah.
Totally tubular.
So this is the thing with me, is that I think that obviously there are more wrinkles to be had, but it's a stylized piece, right? So I would not go crazy on them. No. Just really the compression wrinkles where you need them. Maybe there's some wrinkles around the where maybe the back of his shirt, where the shirt is tucked into the pants. Obviously you're going to have some wrinkles because he's kind of leaning back a bit, and that gather is all going to be right above the belt. Around the crotch where it meets the top of the thighs, you're going to have some wrinkles if they're jeans, and like James said, you're going to add some compression folds, not compression folds, but like the what is it when it's hanging off of something, James? What's that called? Not a compression fold. It's another name for it. I can't remember.
Drapery.
Drapery. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, maybe on the inside of that leg, you'll have some of those and that kind of thing. But really, give a little bit of a convex to the, concave.
Inward is concave. Outward is convex.
Yeah, give a little bit of concave to the cuffs around the bottoms of the shorts, and that's going to make them feel much more like jean shorts as well. But I got to tell you, for a block out, I am really good. Like you guys. Yeah, there's the S that we continue to talk about is totally going on in this piece. Like even the head has a little bit of a cock to it. And then it carries through the body and all the way through that right leg. So I'm digging it. You guys, man, you're turning in some really good stuff. I got to tell you, this is not what I was expecting. So good on you. Good on you. It is what I'm expecting. That was a terrible thing to say. It's exactly what I was expecting. Don't take that the wrong way.
It's good. It's good. The quality of work is good. That's what you want. You want to see some quality work.
So addressing the other question, does the character look 15?
I think so.
It's a difficult one. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's really difficult because that's it's so subjective as well. But I guess the question would be, would we know he's 15 if he hadn't told us, is probably the other question. I don't know if I can answer that, to be honest. I think it's fine. I
would say he looks like a young man because of the proportions of the
head. The proportions are about right. Yeah.
Right.
So the proportions are about right. Yeah.
Okay.
That right knee, his right knee for me, like I really like it suggested there's some nice planar shapes going on. And then the way that transitions down into the lower leg is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Thank you again,
Click on the
Anastasi.
one where he's not smiling. Let's see that face
This one?
above the one above that.
Oh, this one.
Let's do apples to apples. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he looks more kitty there. Obviously, the other one's more of an anime smile, but yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we got a lot of poses back here.
Oh,
That's a cool pose. Yeah, it's a cool pose.
Let's get through some of these.
Yeah. Even the black in for the hair is nice.
So this is
there's a
the,
little.
Oh, yeah.
so
I
this
see,
was the
yes,
character
gotcha.
that we were given some feedback on last
yeah.
week, and so
Gotcha.
he's
Yeah.
putting them side by side so that we can see the comparison.
What are these for? Are these just like personal projects? Because they look like they could be for something. That's
I
really nice.
believe, and Anastasi's obviously going to correct me, but I believe that they're personal projects.
Good.
Killer.
Very cool.
Should 3D print those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Setting some more kind of close-ups
Mhm.
on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome
Yeah.
blackout.
Lastly, Mini Chick Studios says the second angle is the money shot.
It is the money shot. I agree. 100%.
And that she's going to go ahead and take all of the feedback on board.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, nope. Not doing that. All right. So
wow,
pencils
we went
up,
long.
guys. Yeah, pencils up, guys. Let's see, where did we all leave off? And James being the guest, we're gonna start with you. Where did we leave off today?
So today I've worked a little bit more on the hair, and the key thing for me to move this sculpt forward was to get this gun in place, because I couldn't get this right hand sculpted until I knew what I was working with. So yeah, I had kind of so I'm kind of happy with this gun. It looks good. So yeah, I'll be able to go, move forward with that, and then I think the hair's looking good as well, so I'll be able to finish that as well. And so then I'll be into the point where I'm just nitpicking across the sculpts and finishing up. So actually, it's not for I would say, let's say 8 days of work, really, something like that. It's not. I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I love the flaming skull on there.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah,
there's a lot of interest in the piece.
Yeah, it's I'm as a big fan of Anderson Side Division. I'm really tempted to make this into some sort of print or something in the future. So yeah, I guess watch this space.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously once you're done with everything, you're gonna give us the final render of
of
what
course,
have
yeah.
you, and we'll be able to share it with the Stylus League group, right?
James, you already said yes to this, so I will be printing James's piece on my Photon Mono X, even if he doesn't feel like cutting and keying. I would be happy.
Oh, right. Well, this is great. This is great news that I don't even have to do any work.
There you go. There you go. You'll supervise and tell me if you like the keys and everything, and we're gonna 100% have that in the Mike Thompson studio.
Yeah,
great stuff. Yeah,
run that there. Yeah, have that in the background. Okay, so James, this is seeing it as it's your last stream in this segment, right? In this set. October's over. We've loved having you on as a guest. What would you say was the hardest part of doing what you just did with this entire piece here?
I think the challenge for me was to do, it was always going to be a challenge doing a female sculpt, because we tend to do a lot of male sculpts anyway as sculptors. I think, like I say, it's very much a sausage fest. So actually, like keeping my sculpting flexible, I like to think that I can sculpt most things to a fair degree. So I think I hadn't the female kind of anatomy and form, but also keeping the movement in the figure was always going to be very difficult to pull off. And there were problems in my anatomy that I know I need to sort out, but you don't know you have those problems until you try it. So yeah, that was the challenging aspect for me, to get that femininity in. But of course, she's quite a butch character as well, being a police woman as well. So
Yeah.
you know, like, or being a judge. So you know, there was that difficulty as well.
Okay.
Are you surprised at all by the amount of work you got done in such a short
Yeah.
amount of time?
Yeah, and yeah, it's always a surprise to me. Like if I give myself a project like this, again, I tend, in my personal work, I tend to focus on my own stuff, so it wouldn't even be based off a character. So I had a little bit of a head start this time, to my advantage, and of course everything's designed for me because it's in the comics. So although I've come up with my own idea for the suit and everything, which was kind of fun, but yeah, I've motored through this, which is surprised me a bit, actually. Yeah, I must admit.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I mean the composition on this thing, the everything about this is dope. The fact that it tells the story. Like for me, I am always a fan when I see a sculpt, and rather than it just being a character, it tells a story. So for this,
Yeah.
like I feel like this is actually, you know, you can tell what she's doing. She feels very much like a Jean Grey type of a character. And having Death and the other judges, the dark judges, incorporated into the piece is just a total, like, it nails it for me. I loved it. Yeah, I would buy this piece if I could get a hold of it.
Noted.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, but you've already told me you'd send it to me. But I'm just saying, if
that's what I'm saying. He's expecting the Venmo now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. If Sideshow had this out, it would be a problem for me. So well done, man.
All right, that's awesome. But Mike, before we get over to you, we have a couple of pieces of chat that I wanted to go ahead and get over to. Anastasi says, "Thank you guys. It's the first time studio gave me the opportunity to sculpt and transition to 3D. I am mainly a 2D animator, and they printed the demon, so that was pretty awesome." Anastasi also says, "Thank you for the feedback." MJ says what Mike means is that he's going to give Brad Grotman a print of James's statue.
Have Brad Grotman print low blow.
Yeah. Brad says, "Yep, that sculpt deserves way better than that."
Listen, if I had that STL right now, it would give me a reason to go and replace my FEP sheet and clean out the old printer, load it up, and get it going.
Dust her off.
Okay, motivation for me to get it over to you then as well.
There you go.
Finish it up.
Now, Tony does say, "Great series, fellas," and
Thanks,
again,
Tony.
that's kind of talking to the October streams. And Matthew's asking for a suggestion on 3D printer. Do any of you guys have any?
Ooh, resin or filament? If it's resin, there are so many good options. But I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of good options. Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Elegoo or Anycubic. Those are both fantastic. But there's a lot of really good options. The one that Brendan just got is freaking great. It's the 8K. Who makes Saturn? Elgato, right?
Elegoo, Elegoo,
yeah. So it's whatever Elegoo's newest 8K version is, and the stuff he prints it looks like the quality of something that would prototype for XM or Sideshow. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you won't notice. I mean, yeah, of course, when things are printed out in our factories or whatever, they're printed on $10,000-$20,000 printers. So but the LCD market now is very close to reproducing that quality from home. Like, it's crazy how good it is. You can tell in miniatures, but for the bigger stuff, it's very close. You know, like there's not much difference. So yeah, as I will second what Mike said, I think I've got an Anycubic Photon M3 Max here. It's a good printer. I just don't have the time to be able to use it properly because it's very, very messy still. The process of resin prints is a pain still.
Yeah.
So if you're, I mean, I'm sticking with my form. I've got a Form 3 here, which does a lot of the work for you, but it's costs a fortune to run, and the resin costs. I mean, the resin cost me 150 quid just for a liter, whereas I can go on Amazon and get a liter for 30 quid for the Photon. So yeah, the differences are quite stark. But so yeah, you can't do worse than an Elegoo or an Anycubic printer these days. They're fairly cheap, and yeah.
Awesome. All right, Mike, where were we able to land?
So I got shockingly little done today, but I did manage to.
It looks really good though, man. It looks so cool.
Oh, thanks, brother. That's nice. I managed to go in and kind of clean up some of the anatomy issues I had after I posed with Dread, and my dude Death here needs work still. You can see that when is he missing an arm?
Oh yeah, there's something missing there.
That's not good. Oh no.
So James, what you're saying is that wouldn't hold in a print.
Yeah. So also shout out to 3D Connection. They actually reached out to me the other day. I'm using the 3D mouse, Space Mouse, and they're going to use my Iron Fist in a promo video, just doing some turnarounds
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, no, now that this is laid out, I clearly have a lot of, it's very soft in a ton of areas, smoke being one. So I'll probably just study like football tapes, James's smoke, and then go in and work on that. Continue to detail Dread's face. I think I'm going to do what James was talking about with Dread's face and actually go back to my, version that is in symmetry and sculpt that, then bring it back in and pose it. I'm not opposed to that. I do it all the time. Same thing with the gloves. Gloves are still very mushy. Everything is just all kind of placeholder. But I will tell you this. Considering last week there was no Dread and Death
moted.
Death was in a A pose. I'm not upset with the amount of work I got done.
I am not either. Like that looks great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, really.
So and listen, I speak for I think I can speak for Bradley and Raul and myself. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on with us, and I can't wait to have you back. We are 100% bringing James back.
I look forward to it. Yeah,
of course, man. Of course. Like we've had some talented guests in the past, and every time we have a guest on, it's a great experience. And so James is no different from that. It's just great talking to you. And there's a little secret motive that I have. You are a I told my fiance this last night. You, my friend, are a captive interview for 4 weeks from me. So I am 100%. I have ulterior motives. James is a great guy. Yes. Is he a knight? Yes, probably. But in addition to that,
highly likely, right?
Highly likely. Could be. But in addition to that, he is also a great dude who I would love to work with in the future. And I'm going to leave it on that. Anyway, go ahead.
That's fantastic. No, and look, man, I can second all this. As everybody on the chat that's been following knows, this isn't the world I live in, but With that being said, having you come in and be a guest on the stream and your charm and personality has gone a long way. I've complimented that a couple of times.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
But yeah, we we really appreciate having you on the stream, man.
Absolutely.
And guys, with everybody else on stream, again, thank you so much for the outpouring of support that we've had the last couple of months. It's been incredible. Reaching our goal of 1,000 subs 2 months early is amazing, and that continues to happen because of the community. You guys in chat have been great. The submissions that we've been receiving for feedback has been fantastic. So honestly, I can't be more proud or happy to be part of this community. So thank you guys all for being a part of that. Thank you, James, for all of your effort and coming on and being a part of this and being a part of the journey with us.
That's been fun.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, I think we're ready to kind of end the stream here. So thank you all. Before you guys log off, hit the like button. Hit the like button before you guys go out. Subscribe to the channel.
And also
share this
join us on Discord, because you're going to get our information first for giveaways, for future guests. You can, put in your bid for who we bring on next. And we have contests and all that other stuff. What I did want to talk about before we get out of here, just quickly, I would love to see. So today is, what day is today? Today is the 29th. I would love to see the people in the Discord work on some jack-o'-lantern sculpts and submit. That could be kind of cool as just a little something to do for Halloween, if you are so inclined. And what we can do is feature the ones that we feel are most noteworthy in our next stream. Something
tells us we're gonna have a lot of good jack-o'-lanterns.
That's gonna be dope. And listen, if you wanna throw in some Stylus League nods there, feel free. But it's been fantastic. Thanks to everybody. James, you're fantastic, man.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
And also, lastly, thank you for everybody for sticking through us through all the technical issues.
Oh my God, today's been a nightmare. Thank you very much for being patient.
So listen, but Bradley dodged a technical mess bullet here. However, he's having his own set of technical issues. So
I actually blame Bradley for everything that's happened today.
I don't, he's not in the mood to be blamed,
including James's internet. So
I am leaving that alone.
I blame the over enthusiastic gardener for my problems today.
Nice.
But yeah, again, thank you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.